Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page that you are currently listening to me on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, but you will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. So rule two, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts if you are ejected. In a moment, I'm going to transition across to my photos so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience now to throw us a like first and foremost, but share the show on social media also. Once more, if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I've just finished sharing the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and once again I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience to please also share the show on social media. I'm going to run through my links and then I'll say a few hellos to anybody who has joined us in the live stream now. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. For the time being, at least, you'd be able to express those views entirely unopposed. There are, however, a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number two, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You'll just be ejected again. Once again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. I'm going to say hello to a few of you who have joined us. Let's see who's in. Earth Flattener, very good to have you here. Much obliged. Please share the show. JJ, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Regular watcher. Joven Trendmaker, very pleased to have you here, Joven. Nice to see you. Three more. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Very good to see you. New name on me in the chat. Glad I haven't had to type that out. Kitty Felines, is that right? Good to have you here. It says hello with a cat emoji. He or she, we don't know. Sleeping Warrior, very pleased to have you here. Nice to see you. Just uncensor Lottie Says. Good to have you here, Lottie Says. Very pleased to have you. Ninja Man, nice to see you also. Thanks for being here. Yo to you too. I think that's probably about it. So you may hear from me a couple more times if we're not joined by a guest. If there is a possibility of any of you who are currently in the live chat just clicking on the link below the video. Let's just make sure it is actually there. Yes, it is. If you can just click on that link just to check that the show actually does function, I'd be very, very grateful. So yeah, you may hear from me a couple more times just to go through exactly the same links to encourage people to join the show and encourage them to subscribe and encourage them to use my super chat unless we're joined by somebody, in which case I will just introduce them. Fake Tim Osman, good to have you here. Tavis Cloud, good to have you here. Fuzzy Bush Monk. Fuzzy from Hastings. Jolly good. Very pleased to have you here. Captain Bullshit, pleased to see you. Nick L. Yo to you too. David Quintana, nice to have you. Filling up fast, the chat. Nice to see. I've run this one a little bit earlier because I'm going to be doing a pre-record a bit later with Tim Osman with a Z. Maybe about 10 PM I think we'll do it. British time. What's that? 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 3.5 hours from now. So that would be the normal time I would run one of these shows if I was so inclined. However, I'll be doing that pre-record, which will come out tomorrow or the day after. Good chat last time with Tim Osman. Talking about the state of Flat Earth in general. Talked about Mad Mike and his rocket launch. I'm sure that subject will come up again this evening when I chat with him. We have been joined by, who is it? Your name, sorry. Should be a bit more on the ball. True Seeker, sorry, True Seeker. Should be a bit more on the ball, having a drink of cherry coke instead of paying attention. Let's transition across so people can see you. There we go. Good stuff. How are you doing, True Seeker? Very nice to have you here.
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Nice. Reasonably cordial show this morning. Cordial, is that the right word? Well-behaved guests on the earlier stream. That said, it was 90% flat earthers and one glober, who I have a huge amount of respect for. We had Joshua on earlier, who I think is an excellent guy, you know, just a general good guy. Very well researched as well, for that matter. A convert from flat earth to globe earth, so one of those. Few and far between those guys are, but he is one of them. And yeah, he was... he really did well, you know, he held his own against 5 flat earthers, and I was, you know, I had no doubt he would, but he did exceptionally well. Not that I believe what he believes, but it doesn't matter. It's nice to see somebody like that on the panel. I was really chuffed. You know, I was proper made up to see Joshua.
Yeah, that seems to be rare and rare these days, is to actually have, you know, somebody defending the globe with articulated arguments.
Yeah, he knew his stuff. He's done plenty of modelling and experimentation and observation, all the things you want to see in somebody who's on this panel. You know, he was top rate.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that kind of gets overlooked, I brought it up the first time a couple of weeks or a couple of chats ago, was the horizon observations and the fact that they meet all the criteria of if you go up 30 miles on an infinite plane, that's exactly what we observe. So I just think that has some, credibility to be looked into further.
Yeah, there's been loads of stuff that's on these debates that comes up that is going to give people food for thought. And that's kind of the point, really, isn't it? You know, to have people's misconceptions challenged, or just bad ideas challenged, or nonsense challenged. I mean, we did have a bit of that earlier. Pete Shea claimed that Joshua was A4 just because they're both Australian, you know, and I haven't listened to enough of both of them to know that they're different people. But Pete was insistent on it, and you think, I'm glad that gets seen. You know, people need to see the kind of nonsense that does take place in Flat Earth. And while it's not shape of the Earth related, it's definitely flat earthers that are, in this instance, punting out that kind of nonsense. But on the same hand, just to even things up, you had Anthony Riley highlighting that Brenda was bringing forward fallacious evidence. And I was like, I've got an example of that. I had to jump down her throat when she presented something that absolutely wasn't what she said it was. But there we go. It's just, you know, the nonsense is on both sides, and both sides seem to be getting checked here, which is great. It's very entertaining, first and foremost, and that's, you know, primary purpose of me being here is to provide entertainment, but also it's like Flat Earth boot camp. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I would say this is a good boot camp. Unfortunately, I'd like to say that this isn't the way that it's discussed everywhere else, but in my experience, unfortunately, it does seem to draw out some really deep emotions in people. So that is true.
With a bit of luck, we'll get a globe believer in here in the not too distant future, and I can go on mute then.
Yeah, I guess my only thing. So if, we're looking for things to talk about. In my debating of truth in the last 5 years or so, I've come across many people that claim to be on your side of the argument, but they actually aren't.
Right.
So, and that's just something I want to throw out there. I think I've accused Pete Shea of it, once before, because we actually were having a good conversation and he just wanted to focus on the most off topic, non-clear issue. And that's just a well-known topic that they use to control both sides. I just want to throw that out there.
Can I ask you a favour? Can you just press the off button on your camera? Because that way when you speak, your avatar will come up. At the moment, there's either not a camera connected or there's a fault or something, but it just comes up with a black page. But if you turn it off, we'll then get your avatar. Suppose I could do a few more shout outs to people in the chat as it saves me typing them. Where did I get to? It's a really busy chat. Oh, out of time. I was just about to mention you actually, David, because you brought up something on one of the other streams that I thought was quite interesting, because you said, oh, they've got people on both sides of the argument now, and I think you were accusing Stiggy of that, and Stiggy kind of jumped down your throat and was like, quit your paranoid nonsense, and it really kind of stuck in my mind, because I thought, well, no, you have to kind of consider these things. It might be the case that if you were to fill up these panels, if you were to co-opt this conversation, you'd have somebody on both sides of the argument, one with a terrible, putting forward terrible concepts for flat Earth, if that's what you were trying to co-opt. But yeah, so it was an interesting point that was struck down, because obviously if Stiggy's a genuine guy, he's going to be offended by that. But it was an interesting point. It certainly resonated with me, even if it was a quick point that got shot down by the guest you were accusing. But anyway, pleased to have you here, David. If you can hear us, if you can just say a quick hello, I'll level you up.
How y'all doing today?
Mighty fine. Pretty good.
figure I'd jump in here today for a little bit and get the debate going here. Where all the ballers at?
I'll say I'm on your side, David.
Yeah, they don't want to come in here again. They get whooped every time I'm around. How's the debates been going, Nathan? I've listened to a few of them, but I hadn't listened to all of them. But
yeah, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I mean, obviously, there's going to be Globers that claim they've had victory and vice versa with the Flat Earthers. But yeah, I'd say it's been reasonably even-handed. Again, somebody was in the other day saying, it's terrible because it's always a panel full of Globers attacking one Flat Earther and shutting them down. And I thought, no, not at all. That's not the case. And certainly yesterday, earlier today, it wasn't the case. You know, it was 5 against 1, Flat Earthers in the majority. So, no, it's not that way at all. It just, look at the draw. It depends when you join. You know, if we get another Flat Earther on the panel now, when a Glober does join, he'll be hopelessly outnumbered. It's just, like I say, total luck of the draw.
Did you see the Eric DeBay video that he put out today?
I didn't. I was busy mirroring these debates on my backup channel, Nathan Oakley. So no, I've been really busy.
He went back and did the.
Real quick, I just want to say, because you said it's all luck of the draw. We got to remember, a lot of these Globe defenders that love signing on 8 hours a day, it's not so much luck of the draw as so much a career. I'm just saying that out there.
No, I don't know. It makes me feel the same way as somebody postulated that Tim Osman and Red Rhetoric were working together because he had presented very similar graphs. I think it was multi-tom-tom.
And that's the goal of all this discussion, is to devolve real debate into he said, she said, he's in it, I can't prove it, a whole bunch of hearsay. That's kind of, I think, been the point of these whole chats that always spring up on YouTube, is to kind of devolve the talks.
A lot of these folks work for the government. They're disinfo agents. They're out here. It's like Lori Ferry. You got to remember, I'm one of these guys that have watched it since even before Nathan got on here, and it was like Lori Ferry of Flat Earth Conspiracy. She used to kind of be straight up, and then she went off into this Pac-Man theory and all these crazy stuff, you know. And then they want to get on the AE map. See, everybody that's attacking the AE map right now, none of it's true, because the Globers are the ones that don't have a map. Okay, they're trying to turn it around and say that the Flat Earthers are the one without a map, but the globe is not correct. You cannot find a correct map of the world anywhere on the internet, anywhere. No civilian map is available.
That's a really good point. They're turning the argument into their own. You know, they're turning the argument that they should have the burden of proof on it. They're trying to put it on us, and that's erroneous.
We've been joined by
Well, it's
Arwin.
just like Flat Earth.
Very pleased to have you here, Arwin.
Hello, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Hey, Arwen, I've watched some of your videos. Pretty cool.
Really? Thanks.
Oh, hello.
Hey,
wait, then.
we're joined by another participant.
Yeah, but we're getting back to, you know, everybody wants to talk about this Gleason's map. You know, it's over 100 years old, and people don't understand that. There is not one map to scale available that anybody's put together. If you took all the what is there, 186 states or countries and everything, no one has taken all the countries of the world and laid them out on a flat map with the ratio of miles correct for those land masses. You know, everybody likes the Earth's supposed to be 3/4 water, but we don't live in the water. We live on the land. So how come we don't see a map where all the continents and states and everything are done to scale? You know, you just don't find it. And that's the one argument that they anything they argue with you, they have no proof because they don't have any map. That's the problem with the globe situation now. That's why the Flat Earthers are winning this deal, because at least the AE map, the Gleason's map, looks right. I mean, even if you look up map of the world, you'll never see a map from a top down, looking from the top down, from the top of the globe down. All you ever see it is from the side, where they're showing the continents side by side by side. But you never see, if you type in map of the world or world map, you'll never see a map that's laid out on a 2D flat plane that where the continents and everything are situated the right size.
We've been joined by Curved Water. Very pleased to have you here, Curved.
Afternoon, thank you.
Very pleased to have you here.
Yeah, to continue your argument, David, I think you're correct. What everyone basically overlooks is that all maps, all of them that we know, that are actual maps, that are, whether they're trying to be to scale or not, they're all projections. And this is because, well, what I presume is because the Earth's shape, despite being flat, is not connected in a linear fashion, as it were. There may be parts that are more dense in relation to other locations, which causes a very weird spatial warping, as it were. And you can't project that on a flat map, despite it being physically flat. It's surreal. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
We've been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Very pleased to have you here, Sleeping Warrior.
Hi, Nathan. I just wanted to mention to David that I've heard him speaking a couple of times, maybe 3, maybe 4 times on the last few Hangouts, and I just wanted to give praise or give credit where it's due. I think you've been brilliantly behaved, well-spoken, and I think that you've handled yourself fantastically, and that long may it continue, because I agree with pretty much everything you say. So I just wanted to give David a salute.
Thank you, man. They try to act like I'm a hillbilly, but that's all right. I am from Dallas, Texas, and you know what, we have. You know, it's just like figuring out how to fix something. Sometimes you just got to figure it out yourself, and that's just like flat Earth. You know, you got to figure out these things for yourself, because it's just one of these things. You know, it's just like the NASA. You know, NASA, they need to change their logo. It's just like the snake tongue going through there. That's pretty much when I saw the snake tongue going through there. It was like the light clicked on. It was like, now we know they're all liars. They're lying about everything. But that's just my, you know.
Well, yeah, the one thing that really stood out for me was when you said it's not the land that they're lying about, it's the size of the oceans and the position of the landmass. I agree completely. Jake was on about the AE map not being accurate, and he was saying because it was a little bit due south of west. Well, the other way to interpret that that result that he's found is that the position of Australia may not be exact, which is what the Flat Earth map has been saying for a while. People say Australia may not be exactly where they've got it right. It may not be right. I agree with you. The water is not. Yo,
on that point, longitude correction, if just presuming for sake of argument that would be necessary, the argument with the sun rising south of east and setting south of west is a problem of latitude, not longitude. So trying to shift Australia around east or west on the map doesn't solve the problem here. You're aware of that, right? And you said a little bit.
Well, it's two things, isn't it? It's declination, because there is a rotation point or a magnetic pole just below Australia that shouldn't be there if there's only 2 poles on the Earth.
The magnetic pole has nothing to do with this. Now,
it does. It does, because you have to.
No, it really doesn't,
Anthony. You have to adjust the declination because of it.
Oh, Anthony, come on, dude.
Ding, another knockout.
Oh my. Anyway, so Riley, you see, the problem is,
and here's the distraction.
Well, do you deny that the Tropic of Capricorn runs through Australia, and it does so north of Sydney?
Sure, but do you deny that declination is a thing?
Of course not. People to do with this. Declination is the amount of, or has to do with the number of degrees that you have to adjust your bearing from your magnetic reading to get true south.
Point
that's
taken.
all. Okay, now
that's important with regards to where the sun's setting, though, right?
You have the southern celestial pole. If you have any questions about where due south is, now, the problem is the sun rises like on the December solstice. The sun is going to rise about 27 degrees south of east, I believe, and set about 27 degrees south of west. Now, you're talking about looking south of east by a fair amount to see a sun that is known to be over the Tropic of Capricorn at that time, which is north of Sydney.
Could you drive around the
if
world
you guys,
if you connected
Hey,
America
David,
to Alaska? Could you ride all
David,
the
I was
way into
speaking to
Russia?
Anthony about this, and this has nothing to do with truck driving, sir. So if you
Here,
wouldn't
I have a
mind,
question.
hold on.
How can you
I'm talking
independently
to
verify?
Riley. Can Riley answer my question before you guys get
Let the guy ask the question.
So do you understand the point? And I'm not even being facetious when I say this. I'm assuming you've seen this diagrammed. So I won't ask, do you need to see it drawn out? I'm assuming you have seen this. You understand the problem here, right?
Of course.
All right.
But
So
How can we independently verify the position of the sun? You keep assuming this position and it's right above the Capricorn. How can we independently verify for ourselves? That's the whole issue here.
God.
Observation. Let me address.
It's around the world. Go ahead, Riley.
Let me address that question that you asked. Firstly, we need to address declination in one way or another. Agreed?
Of course. Of course.
Now, Nathan, if you just share my screen a sec so that they can all see it. On the heliocentric model, we only have one magnetic pole up north and one magnetic pole down south. Now, this is a field total intensity map, but it clearly indicates that there's more than one magnetic thing. We'll call it a pole because they all center around it like a pole. This is not consistent with heliocentricity because there should be something just up at the top and everything should come away from it. There should be something down at the bottom. Everything should come away from it. And essentially, it should be straight lines.
Okay, what is this showing? What is this showing?
It's showing field intensity of the Earth that we live on.
Okay. Now, and what does intensity have to do with declination?
Well, you can see that there is a rotation point down here that is declination. This is the reason why declination is a thing.
That's not a rotation point.
No, it is magnetically. Now, this is why declination. This is why the declination value in Australia and New Zealand is like between is it 11 and 13?
All right, Anthony, I'm no expert on this, but I mean, you're really up in the weeds from my point of view. Oh,
well, they're just magnetic rings. You should see it as a cut through magnetic rings.
This is mapping intensity.
This
has nothing to do with direction. This is not vector. This is not direction.
No, this is the reason why the declination issue is
why don't you show a declination map? If you want to talk about declination, why not show declination?
All right, so it's going to give you the same thing, but let's do what you just
said. No,
it's
not going to give you the same.
Declination.
This is just the strength of the magnetism, not the direction of the
It's the strength of the magnetism, yeah. And what it shows...
Okay, yeah, well, then you can't really tell anything, really. Except that there's unusual more strong magnetic activity at certain points than others. That's all you can take from that.
Yeah, but the problem is...
Clearly, though, a magnetic pole would have the same features on the same grid.
Correct. And the problem is, of course, on the heliocentric model, there's only two poles. There's two magnetic poles, one at the top, one at the bottom. Now, the reason why declination is a key thing is because it's got such a strong field strength immediately below Australia, which is here. But
this is not a heliocentric issue.
Does a three-part compass point north in every country that you're in?
No.
So a compass doesn't work in every country?
No. That's why we have declination issues. We have to correct. Apparently, we have to correct for declination. But my problem is that this does not match.
Why would a compass not work in every country?
Because it's not accurate in every country. It works, but it doesn't give you true north. It gives you a value that it lines up to the fields, but you have to adjust for declination.
How do you know that?
Magnetic directions are not the same everywhere.
How do you know that?
David,
because
were you in the military? Were you in the military, David?
Everybody went straight north on a compass line out of every state. We haven't even done it in the United States. Nobody's flown north out of Dallas over the pole, over the North Pole, and come back around to Antarctica.
I realize people find you entertaining. That number's growing. I mean, shrinking by the day, I believe. But David,
no, it's growing.
Did you not say that you were in the military?
Sir, I know that I just asked you another question you can't answer. Okay.
This is a scouts issue. Okay, and you're claiming you were in the military.
The compass only has three parts, and it points magnetic north. Okay.
Magnetic north. Thank you.
Magnetic north. So that'd be the top of your ball, wouldn't it?
No, it's not. See, you're
No, it's
so
not.
uneducated.
No, it's not.
It's
Why-
not funny.
To the balls, yes, the ball.
Can
theory,
somebody,
it should
Anthony,
be.
would you like the honor of showing your buddy where magnetic North Pole is, since you've got the maps up?
How wide is it?
And
Well,
he's
hang
not
on,
going to listen to me
hang on.
anyway.
Curved water keeps contradicting himself.
Hang on.
I never contradicted myself.
Let's just recap what is the position on the heliocentric model with regards to the magnetic poles. For anybody that disagrees, essentially it's this. We have a North Pole at the top, the fields go round the Earth to the south, and that's supposed to be it.
Okay, so what is the geocentric model of the globular magnetic field?
Is there anybody arguing the geocentric position?
It should be the same.
How does it differ from the heliocentric? You're specifying heliocentric.
No,
I pointed out that this is not a heliocentric issue. You argued with me, and now you're showing.
Then in the world are
then
done
if it's
north
a
to south, east to
heliocentric,
west.
if this is a heliocentric specific point,
Of course.
then obviously there must be a different one for a geocentric.
Well, let me put it to you this way. This is what we're told we live on, but this is the reality.
You're
what I'm
dodging.
asking is... No, I'm not
Okay,
dodging.
so you were wrong and you don't want to admit it. That's fine.
No. I'm the one asking the
Fair
question
play.
here at this point.
That's the way it is.
I'm asking the question, how is that consistent with the heliocentric model?
It's not a heliocentric issue. Stop saying that.
Why is it not a heliocentric issue when you only have two poles?
Is it different for the geocentric position?
That's distraction. Answer that question.
No.
Why does there appear to be
that's not
numerous poles?
You used the wrong term trying to kind of like slag off heliocentrism.
No,
And you don't even know how to use it properly.
Better than you can.
This is not a heliocentric issue. It's just
How
like
is it
with
not?
David.
All right, let's play simple mathematics, not mythmatics. Mathematics. We see one pole at the top. We see another pole at the bottom. 1 plus 1 is 2.
12,000 miles apart.
And on this one, we see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 4.5. Maybe there's another.
Those are not poles, G. Those are not poles. Come on, man.
But what are they though?
Strength.
They're not poles. These
What
are gradients in the magnetic field strength. That's what it looks like. Main field total intensity.
Can you show me where 1 and 2 is? Can you show me where 1 and 2 is on the map? Because it doesn't appear to line up at all with what we saw.
The map is not a representation of the magnetic direction.
It's a representation of the magnetic fields.
No, the field strength, not the direction.
Not direction, but strength. But doesn't this indicate that there's a circular point here? Circular point there?
No. What it indicates is there's some kind of activity there that, for some reason, enhances the magnetic activity of the Earth.
These guys are basically denying topographic maps then, because their topographic maps are made the exact same format.
Why don't you point out a map that shows you where the two magnetic poles are, Riley?
Well, all the maps
instead of derping around with this, bring up the two magnetic poles. Where are the two magnetic poles, Riley?
Are all animated. They're all computer composites. They don't appear to be
Riley.
Riley, yes.
You can pull up a map that shows where the two magnetic poles are located currently, which do move about. Where they are currently.
I've done a search for Earth's magnetic poles, and these are the results I have. So take your pick. But none of them look like photos or maps. They look like pictures.
This is juvenile.
Exactly.
I wish you knew enough to be embarrassed by what
losing.
you're doing. I really do.
This is exactly why the globe is losing. All of their arguments.
No one's losing. You guys can't. You don't even know how to keep score, and you're declaring who a winner is.
All right, David, let me ask your opinion. Given that
you guys are rewriting history and claiming to be winners. What's worse?
David, do you think this is juvenile? When we look up the magnetic field map and it gives us this, and this is clearly it's a map, and then we compare it to
the only problem with that map is all the continents are the wrong size. You're not looking at, and they're not positioned in the right places. So who knows?
Hey, well, it sounds to me,
and that's the big secret.
That's what you don't understand from us. That's a flat Earth failure. See,
if everybody in the world, from every country in the world, sent a map that was to scale 200 miles, and you put it on a wall, and then you'd have to position them in the right place where they're supposed to go. Other than that, I don't know how to do it for you, but that's the way you have to do it.
I'll tell you how. Okay, see, it's this simple. If the Earth were flat, it could be accurately mapped on a 2D flat map. Okay, you can't do it. It's not flat. That's the problem.
Can you prove? I want to see proof of the claim that you can't map this world on a 2D surface.
I was going to say all the maps we see are mapped on flat maps.
And they're all distorted in some way or more.
Well, we don't know that though, do we? That's
Yes,
just the
we do.
accepted
Yes,
belief.
This
we
is
do.
why the
Yes,
globe is
we
losing
do.
credibility.
And you
He's
guys
literally
complain
claiming
about the
that you can't draw a
distortion
map
in them
on a
all
2D
the time.
surface.
You chalk it up to geopolitical crap, trying to make Greenland bigger. No, that's a natural
Who's the president of
result
Greenland?
of
Who's the president of
way
Greenland?
that it's projected.
Who's the
thing
president of
is,
Greenland? What kind of government do they have in
you
Greenland?
refuse to accept the fact that you
What kind of government they got over? Can you go over there?
You cannot unpeel an orange and make it
Can you get a
flat
visa and go over there and buy you a couple acres over there? What?
without
Right,
either
look,
stretching it or tearing it apart.
Right.
They
It's
free
clearly-
The
direct-
orange never
You can't
existed.
do
The
it.
orange never existed.
That's a presupposition on your part.
Okay, guys,
No,
let
that's
me
something
ask.
that's actually come
See,
through.
if it were
physical
flat, it
observation
could be
and
mapped.
synthetic.
You guys have always failed to get a correct flat map.
Let me
You
ask.
always will fail to get
Arwin, I've got a question
correct
for Arwin.
flat map
Yes. What is
of
it?
the flat Earth. You can't.
Curved. I've asked Curved how this supports heliocentricity, and I've not had a satisfactory answer. So I'm not.
It's
gonna
not a
ask you.
heliocentric issue.
Right, I'm not asking you now. You had your
Earth
chance.
shape.
Straw man. It's a straw
Let's just
man.
call it an Earth shape issue, okay?
Okay, let's call it an Earth shape issue. Arwin, does this support heliocentricity in your opinion or not?
What a
No, has
cunt.
nothing to do with it.
Really? How?
Well, this map just is a representation of the intensity of magnetic activity in general. It doesn't give any pointers, literally, as to what the direction of the magnetics are.
Are you denying the same mechanisms that are used for topographic maps daily?
How does that relate?
Denying that this
Basically,
is applicable
concentric
to
circles like that prove points or valleys.
No,
Peaks
it
and
proves
valleys.
energy intensity, and energy also over distance
Energy only
decreases in
intensifies around
circle-like
poles and
shapes.
points. It
All
only
compasses
intensifies
point
around points
north.
and poles.
By the way,
Right,
your
exactly.
volume is really low. I can barely hear you, Truth.
I don't think that's an accident.
Well,
I-
take it
I
as you
don't-
will. It's a representation of the intensity. It doesn't give any pointers as to the direction.
Okay, so maybe Arwin, could you correct me with regards to my perception that these two appear to be contradictory? What should they look like on the heliocentric model if that's not it?
Well,
If
what
that's-
this is basically, in comparison to the other one, this one is an intensity fluctuation representation.
We've
So
never
it
seen
could
anybody
technically,
run
can
out
I
of doors.
please,
Go ahead.
could technically fit if the Earth were a globe, because, well, it doesn't give any hints as to what the direction is. So it could as well be, it's all pointing north. This is just the fluctuation of how intense this magnetic strength is on location. That's all it is.
But there's only two parts that appear to point north. All the other parts appear to be generally
No,
traveling east to west.
Well, there are just 4 spots, and they seem to have a larger or lower amount. Wait, like 600. Yeah, the circles seem to be around very intense spots. So there's something there that, for some reason, enhances the magnetic output of whatever
They are
causes
called
the
poles.
magnetism
They're
for
called
some
magnetic
reason.
poles.
But this is an intense spot here, and there's another intense spot at the bottom. That's
Is
not
it?
being
I don't know.
according to one model, yeah. But that's not what we're seeing here, and I assert that they're contradictory. But you don't agree.
Well,
that's
it
a
would
fact.
give hints that it's not as solid and stable if indeed the South Pole point on the globe and on the North Pole point would be a very high output magnetic system, like an electromagnetic, then you should indeed see perfectly circles going around it and not something like this. This would indicate a destabilization or something. So,
So you
yeah,
kind of
you have a
seen-
point.
We haven't even seen anybody pass north. Okay, a compass only has 3 parts. When is somebody going to fly and the compass flip back the other way?
Hey, David, how would that be different on a flat Earth, please? Why are you
Man,
using that
because-
as an argument against the globe?
Because
How would it be different?
we want to know, just like you fill up your fuel on your truck, it's going to run out
How
of
would it be
gas.
different,
When is North going to run out of gas?
You
Huh?
can't answer my question, can you,
When is
David?
North going? I don't care what
about
country
that?
you live from. When is North going to flip?
Hey, David, why
I
can't
don't
you
care what
answer the
country. You go
question?
stand in any you go stand in any country and you get a compass. a
Why
3-part
can't you
compass,
answer the
and
question,
somebody
David?
just go north, okay? Until
Why
it
can't
flips
you
all the way
answer the
back
question,
around. When's
David?
somebody going to do that?
Why can't you answer the question, David?
I
What
already
difference
answered
would it
it.
make on a flat Earth or globe? Why are you bringing it up? You don't understand
because the maps are wrong, man. Okay,
The magnetics don't matter if it's a globe
acres
or
of land
flat.
are there in the world? How many
What would
acres
you
of land are there in the world?
David,
Do you know that they have this thing?
What would you expect to happen on a flat Earth? Apply your question, your lack of understanding
Man, we know
here
it's flat. We
to
can
the
go
flat.
outside and look.
Okay, what would
flat.
happen? What would happen on the flat Earth then? What do you
I don't
think?
know. That's
How should a compass behave on a flat Earth, Dave?
It's all points north. It works exactly the same. That's the whole point here.
Okay, you just busted yourself. Thank you.
All compasses point north. Okay, we don't even know where. We don't even know where north ends.
You don't even know where north is.
Where does north run out? I know if I leave Dallas, I go straight to Chicago and I keep rolling. North's got to run out somewhere.
That's because there's more land.
Ask your questions.
Sorry, guys, can I just interrupt you for a second? We've been joined by 1209 Landman, I believe it is. Could I just say a quick hello?
We got a penguin.
What's the farthest anybody's ever seen a light?
Sorry, David. Sorry, bear with me. Can I just get a quick hello from our new guest? New guest, you're going to be booted if you don't say hello.
1209, please speak out.
You know, a good test would be to go see what the farthest somebody could see a lighthouse from.
It's gone.
They got the lighthouses, and supposedly people can see lighthouses for 50, 60, 70 miles. How many lighthouses are still working in the United States? Maybe somebody needs to go get a P900 and see how far they can see the light of a lighthouse from. Probably 100 miles.
Is Nathan still trying to get a sound check from somebody?
No, he came in and tried to snipe Sleeping Warrior out and blocked him. So,
okay.
Can you still hear us, Sleeping Warrior? Are you still part of this conversation?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I think so.
Fine, no worries. As you were.
Do you know what I noticed as well? Within the Google chat, within the Hangout chat that only us guys see, my logo or my icon is different to the one that the main chat sees.
Sign of a shill, I always heard, but I don't know that.
Yeah, I only just changed it, but I would have expected it to have fixed. If it's on one, it should be on the other. But you guys are seeing the Range Rover.
It's very common, Riley. Actually, I'm just kidding. It's very common for this to occur. I've had it happen.
We got Timmy coming in here wanting to snipe somebody.
Takes a bit of time for me to.
Yeah, I've several times seen different icons in the Hangout versus what it showed on YouTube. It just updates differently, and I've never found out why.
Just so guests know,
if we're
sorry to interrupt you all.
Dead,
sorry.
Why does it seem to keep growing?
Sorry, Truth. If you are joining, you must say hello pretty much immediately, because I'm just going to snipe you out. I'll ask once. If you don't say hello, you'll just get immediately kicked. So just so you know, if you're joining the Hangout, say hello immediately.
Good advice.
Where were we?
What's the farthest of lighthouse has been documented? Has somebody seen a light from a lighthouse? What's the farthest that's been documented? See, these little easy tests aren't being done. Everybody wants all this money to do stuff, but a little easy test. I need to go do that one myself.
Done. Oh my God. How many videos are there on lighthouses?
Dubai's 200 Proofs video's got a good section on lighthouses. I don't know the figures involved, but I could find them on his 200 Proofs.
Right.
Now, trying to confirm honest tests is a different thing.
That proves flat Earth right there.
It proves that you can't do math.
You're still wondering where the first inch drop is.
You will always wonder, because you never listen to answers, David.
I'm still want to know where the magical line is, where if you go below it, you don't see any spin, and you go above it, suddenly you see 1,000 mile per hour spin.
Well, that doesn't really exist.
It must exist on your model. It must.
No, you have a gross conceptual error there, sir. Gross conceptual error.
No, you can keep claiming I do, but until you prove that I do, you're just losing credibility.
Why don't you attempt to prove that what you just asserted is correct?
I already know it is.
There's
what are we talking about again?
I'm trying to move
then you could cite a source then you could cite a source that states that this is so. What are you using to determine that your assertion is correct? You have a gross conceptual error.
I have a thing called intellect, discernment, and 5 senses.
Okay, it's not perceptible.
I've been
So-
indoctrinated into a system that really didn't
Dude,
want me
what
to
you
use
just
those to
claimed-
garner
What you just
advantage
claimed
of
is
using
not
those sensors.
predicted by anything about the globe. This magical
prove it.
line
You just
where
made
the
a claim. I
spin
want
goes
proof.
from
What
1,000
are we
to
talking
0.
about here?
He doesn't even know, Arwen. He doesn't know.
No, but I don't either, because it's a
Neither
lot of
do I.
meta talk. What is this about again?
Ask
You
your
gotta-
question again,
That's
Truth.
what they do. He just
Ask
gonna
your
tell you
question,
something.
Truth.
You hear me now?
Yes.
I don't even remember what we're talking about. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to get
my
at.
point.
You guys,
Did you make
guys
it
have
up?
a track record of devolving topics
Hey,
into
David.
nothingness.
I mean, Truth.
You
Truth.
diffuse any kind of discussion into bullshit.
Hey, Truth. You were asking something about with the magic point where the 1,000 miles.
Okay. So
cross the point and
on
it's
the
0?
magical here, yes, on the magical spin. Okay, listen, on the magical spinning globe, there
Good
must be a
God.
line. There must be a magical line where you can't see the spin of the Earth. Because when I go and Google search why I can't see the spin of the Earth, oh, it's just simple Newton and inertia. Okay, well, where does that inertia line disappear? And suddenly, just like the NASA astronauts can see the spin of the Earth, where's the magical line where I can't see it here, but suddenly you go high up enough, you can see it?
That's what those other flat earthers. They say that's the Pac-Man model like that.
What are you talking? No, that's
No,
not
rectangular
Pac-Man model.
looping.
No.
Yep.
What
No,
you're
I'm just
talking
asking
about?
because on a globe model,
Right,
there must be a
David.
point where you see it and you don't see it.
I'm so used to saying David. Truth. Listen, for one, okay, Earth spinning, Earth rotating. You separate yourself from the Earth. You gain rise in altitude. Whether or not you perceive spin from it is going to depend upon your velocity relative to the velocity of the surface of the Earth. You
I'm very
understand
glad
that?
you brought that up.
Do you
Because
understand that?
my
The
drone
Earth's
actually
moving
has
1,000 miles. 1,000 miles. You know how far 1,000 miles is, going all the way across Texas every
Dude,
hour.
I'm
Well, here,
sorry.
listen.
I should have realized who I was talking to and specified that I'm talking about getting out into space and looking
Where's the
back
magical
at
line?
the Earth. There is no magical line. That's the point. It's about your velocity relative to the surface of the Earth, dude. Like if you're in
Here,
orbit or
So here, then listen to this
Yeah,
example.
Do you understand?
theoretically, you might be correct, Kurt.
geosynchronous satellites.
my
Geosynchronous
drone-
satellites.
Theoretically, you're correct, but there's no saying that the gravity or whatever this force may be or this effect will actually end at some point.
We're
This
not
could
talking
just
about
as well be a
gravity.
NASA myth. They are the
Are we?
only ones that
Dude.
have come up with this concept.
This
Here,
is
I
not
need-
about
I need to
gravity
say something.
ending or not. Where did that come from? Oh my God.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? This is hilarious.
Yeah. It's what I did a hangout about this. I believe
This has
gravitational
nothing to do
pull
with-
is a lie, but gravity.
He's talking about
probably real.
seeing the spin of the Earth, Arwen.
No.
He's not talking about gravity. He's talking about a magic line that he thinks exists where you suddenly will start seeing the Earth spin.
No,
Oh,
your
wait.
model actually claims that must exist because they say we
No.
can't see it from the surface, but you can see
No.
it once you're an astronaut floating in the vacuum of space.
It depends whether or not the Earth appears to be rotated. It's going to be dependent upon your speed relative to the speed of the rotation, dude.
That's a
You don't get
really lousy
Yeah, but-
explanation.
No,
But let me
it's
show
If
you
it's
how
a
my
ball and
drone-
it's rotating,
fantastic
there should be
answer.
different
It's a
forces.
fantastic
from the
answer.
spin.
What's drawing the needle of the compass north? What's drawing it? What actually?
It's the
is-
same on a flat Earth or a globe, David.
No, I'm asking you
You're
a question. What's
dismissed.
drawing that needle north? What's making it pull north?
David,
It's magnetic, right? It's a magnetic, just like a magnet. Just like in a car speaker or whatever. You know what a magnet is. How big is the dang magnet at the North Pole? How is it? Is it a big buried rock up there? What is it that makes it every compass point north?
the
Mount
magnet's
Monroe, you mean?
probably about the size of the Earth or so.
No, that can't be
Here,
right.
look,
Or it'd be,
Look,
it'd-
we were actually having a good discussion though. The magical line is a great point to call them out. It keeps getting changed. So look, we can
There
go
is
back
no
to it. No
magical
one's
line.
addressed it.
There's no magical line.
the North Pole line. Where's that at?
So then look,
Oh my
why
God.
can my drone detach its velocity from the supposed spin of the Earth and go in all directions freely with
Before that
equal
gets
energy?
before that gets
like a
answered,
butterfly.
sorry, David, to interrupt. True Seeker, I don't know if you're right on top of your microphone, but what's happening is you start really loud and then your mic is compressing you, so you're really quiet. So I don't know if you can just maybe put your mic about a foot further away, because every time you overload it, we can hardly hear you, and initially it like blows your eardrums out. But your mic's really sensitive, so we can hear those sirens really clearly, and they're presumably quite some distance away
Get that
from you.
every show I'm on.
So yeah, just don't get on top of your microphone, because otherwise, ironically, the closer you get, the quieter you become.
Okay, I think that was what I was doing then.
Cool. Sorry to break the flow up.
All right, all I wanted to get back is clearly on a spinning ball model, there has to be a vanishing point of the spin, because they say that we can't see it from the surface, but suddenly, astronauts in the space station can see it. And so that's all I was trying to get at. It just shows the double speed.
Astronauts in the space station are moving much faster than the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah, okay, so how about my drone? My drone can independently detach itself from the 1,000-mile-per-hour velocity.
Your drone is flying in wind.
So where does friction
flying in the
stop?
atmosphere.
Where does friction stop when you're going up there?
Friction never stops when you're
talk
involved,
about speed.
David.
You talk about speed.
You're
Okay, it's just like
constant
the Concorde running. The outside temperature of a Concorde is running at 1,000 degrees at supersonic speeds. How high do you got to go where all that friction just stops? How come we've never seen that, huh?
I don't know. Why don't you take a look at maps of like the winds aloft?
Mm-hmm.
You guys think everything is based on friction. See, you guys, you will never succeed because you're constantly trying to debunk things that you don't even understand in the first place.
Sure, I don't.
So,
And you guys think everything revolves around gravity.
no, I don't.
Or relativity.
No, I really don't.
Special
Or
relativity.
theories, mainly theories is what they like to talk about. Is their theories?
Well, sure. Okay.
Yeah, the theory of it.
Coriolis.
Well, you guys can go ahead and try to, mock and ridicule your way
I hate
through, but
I
you're
hate
not
beating
gonna
up
get
on
that.
just one globe earther, man. We need a couple more globers in here.
I'm doing just fine. You guys are not.
I don't know.
No, we're doing fine. We're doing a great job at attacking each other.
Have you noticed that none of the other flat earthers that believe in the Pac-Man or the debunking the A map or any of this stuff have come on here? You notice that?
Yeah.
You may tell you the two of the two. I'll talk about some flat earthers. You want to talk about two big shills, Event Skeptic and Awake Souls? Those guys down there. You want to talk about somebody that talks some trash?
Well, they're leaving.
You talk about disinfo agents.
No, they're just really, really angry, especially Jason.
And crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of controlled opposition out there.
We've been joined by Brenda.
They're not
Hey, Brenda.
Pleased to have you here, Brenda.
Hello. Nathan's talking.
And we've been joined by Epistemology for Truth also. Good to have you here.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good
How you doing?
afternoon.
Hey, Brenda.
You still antagonized by my name. Thank you, you. That makes me happy. I'm glad to see it still bothers you.
I wanted to go down through a line of questioning with Truth about his drone and his claim about some magical line where the Earth could be seen spinning.
Yeah, I want to know why my drone can detach its velocity from the spin of the ball. And
What
go
makes
in
you
all
think?
directions
What makes
with
you
equal
think when you're
energy and
hovering?
still hover?
So are you telling me that when you hover your drone above your desk, that it's detached from the spin of the Earth? Is that what you're
No,
telling me?
I'm saying I actually have to physically move it in all directions to prove to somebody like you that it's not attached to this supposed velocity, and then hover, and then I've proven it.
How high you got to go
What?
before friction stops?
That doesn't make any sense.
Wait,
That
what
doesn't
What
make
about
any
the
sense.
portion of the
So let me
spin?
ask you something.
Let me explain exactly how.
Let me ask you something.
You're claiming
When you're throwing
Has
a
a
Centrifugal force.
when you're in a bus and you're throwing a baseball back and forth down the bus with your friend, is that baseball being detached from the velocity of the bus?
Of course it isn't. But if I drone the bus, guess what it's observing? Forward
Wrong
motion.
answer, bro.
Something
That's
that is
law of
never
momentum.
observed on the Earth.
It's in
You're
an
inside of the
enclosed
friction. That's why.
space
Where's the
that
friction
moves
stop
with
at?
the movement.
So basically, what you're telling me,
Law of momentum.
what you're telling me is if a bus is doing 80 miles an hour down the highway, and you do a light toss to your friend from the front of the bus to the back of the bus, that the ball is going to not be traveling 80 miles per hour forward anymore. It's going to
because
be
of
actually.
No, it
friction
is.
of the wind.
Is that
It
what
is.
you're
It's
saying?
just going slightly faster.
it'll be going slightly faster,
because
slightly
of the
slower
law of
than the
momentum.
Guys, can you let epistemology just get a word
Get my
in?
response.
Guys, can you stop interrupting him? He's only just arrived and he's been interrupted about 50 times. Just let him get to the end of a statement, then attack it or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, it's clear to me, one, they don't even want to let me speak, but two, I actually listen to the globe theory in how I set up my experiments is because they say you have initial velocity built up in you. So I say, okay, well, at some point, this velocity in motion has to be observed. It needs to be observed at some level in your model. And it doesn't even exist.
It's observed first of all, it's observed several ways. If you precisely weigh objects near the equator, they're lighter than objects that are closer to the poles.
If you drop a basketball out of the back of a pickup going 60 miles an hour, that basketball drops straight to the ground.
Is that really so? Have you checked that yourself?
Yeah, there's actually a GNOME. I'll link you to the GNOME experiment where they passed a test weight around the whole world, and people weighed it on a very precise scale, and they showed how the objects weigh differently in different places on the Earth.
And you know what?
Is that on camera?
Man, nobody believes
land
that.
on the
See,
surface
come
of
over
the moon.
telling all that bull crap.
When was that done, and was it on camera?
I told you that
Oh,
you
you're
tested it,
a
now you
teenager,
just
you
want
go
to
to
refute it.
Africa.
Did
What's the
they
point of
use
even
the
asking in
same
the first place?
skills?
Why don't you look at the information he gives
mumbled.
you?
This is all mumble.
Well,
Nobody's
it's not
even
on
letting anybody
YouTube,
speak.
so it can't be real. Because that's what doing research is watching YouTube
Hey, if
videos.
it was ever on TV,
Yeah,
like
people
the
have different
BBC
size
in the
fuses and
80s,
different
it will
cars,
be on
too.
YouTube.
On
Yeah,
TV.
if it's not on YouTube, it isn't real.
Or TV. It has to be
Nobody's
on TV
even
for
letting me
TV,
finish
TV's real.
statements.
No, it's not saying it's not real. It's just more likely and more easy to investigate. That's
The
all.
guy's trying to bring up scales as answering my question. That no way even closely addressed my point.
You were asking me, first of all, is there any way that we could measure the spin?
No, I didn't ask you that. No, I didn't. I didn't ask you to measure spin. No, I didn't. I said, why can my drone go away from the supposed spin that you claim exists?
It's not. It's not. You're either adding to the spin or taking away from the spin, depending on what direction you're traveling.
Answer this simple physics problem. Why can my drone move in all directions with equal energy?
Because you're going
Why is it when you're on a bus, you can toss a baseball around? If you're on a bus traveling at a steady speed,
due to inertia. Due to inertia.
Hold on a second.
It's friction. It's not inertia. It's friction. That's what
Let
it
me
is.
finish.
I can answer that question.
Let me finish. Why is it when you're on a bus traveling at a steady speed, you can toss a baseball around, and it's as if you're not moving at all, even though you're traveling at a constant speed the whole time? Could be 80 miles an hour on the highway.
That's exactly why.
You can do it on an airplane at 500 miles an hour. You
It's
can
the
toss a
law of
baseball
momentum.
up
It's
and
an
down the
enclosed
aisle.
space.
It's friction.
no-
That's all it is. It's the amount of friction. It's just like if you stand up in the back of a convertible and throw that ball's going to take off 90 miles an hour with the speed of the wind.
Exactly. There's. You
Uh-oh,
guys won't
here
even
we
let
go.
it. We're just getting off topic.
But guys,
No, you're not answering
it
my
moves
question.
because of the
Epistemology
law of
answer.
momentum, guys.
Why
You've
would
never
a
answered my
baseball on an airplane be any different than a drone flying through the atmosphere?
Because
Because the
the
airplane
atmosphere
is
is not
actually moving.
an enclosed space that moves with the
Airplane.
object.
Well, yeah, it
Listen,
is.
You guys won't even let me
No,
speak.
it's in the open air.
Airplane is actually
it's not.
moving. The Earth
Yes,
is
a
motionless.
drone
How can
outside
the
is
air
in the
be
open
in the
air.
open air? Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Spit out
No,
the
it
windows.
doesn't
I'll
make it-
tell you why.
The air in the planes and in the bus moves with the bus. It's still.
And the air,
So
the
there-
atmosphere, and the atmosphere outside moves with the Earth.
We've been joined by Tim Osman. Please
Hey
stay
guys,
there.
real quick, what would I observe if I hover above your constant
I
velocity
think your
train?
mic's
above?
knackered.
What do
Tim
I observe
Osman.
below? What do I observe below me?
You observe the train as if it was at rest.
No, you don't. You would observe forward motion.
No, you wouldn't. You said hover above a train.
Okay, go in constant velocity, and you hover.
Yeah.
You hover a drone above the train. The train's moving.
At the same
drone
speed as the
wouldn't be-
train? At the same speed as the train? Is it?
Not after it leaves above it.
Or is it leaving, or is it staying stationary?
If you hover a drone above a constant velocity train out the roof of a window, are you telling me you're not going to see the train moving forward or whatever direction it was moving?
I don't understand. Is the drone moving with the train, or is it stationary to the ground?
Sir, you must not have good intellect. I'm talking
Well,
about.
I'm just
I
asking
want
you.
to know the answer to it.
I'm just asking you: is the drone keeping up with the train, moving at the same speed,
Is it
or is it stationary with
All
the
I'm
ground?
saying is if a train is going 60 kilometers an hour, constant velocity, and you open up a hatch in the roof and you let a drone fly out of it, what does the drone observe below it? Answer me that. That's all I want to know.
Oh, it'll be ripped back by the sudden air taking.
It'll be forced back by the force of air passing by.
And then,
Yes.
and then will the train continue to move away from it?
Yes.
Of course it will.
Exactly. That is what is missing from every observation is zetetic reality. There is no movement of this plane.
There's no such thing as zetetic reality. It's just
Wait a
nonsense.
minute. So let me get this straight. So what you're expecting to happen is that you will hover your drone, and then suddenly it should fly back with the speed of the Earth, is what you're saying. The second that the drone lifts off the table, it should fly back. Is the expectation?
Absolutely
that you expect
not.
to see.
Absolutely not. What I'm claiming is it just like you? It's already going 1,000 miles per hour.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get at is that there is no motion observed below. There is never any motion.
I don't understand. No. Let's really nail this down here. So, what is your expectation on the spinning Earth that you don't see?
Okay, so we are about halfway through this broadcast. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate, simply click on the link in the info box below this video. Make sure to mute the page you are currently watching before you click on that link. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. With that, I'm going to transition back to the action. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media.
Just the same as it would fly in your room.
Well, the theoretical motion of the spinning globe Earth cannot be seen because everything moves with everything.
Hold on.
We just hung him. We just hung him.
Here, look. Let me finish this line of questioning with truth because I want to really nail it down here.
No,
I don't want anyone
Arjwin just hung himself. He just claimed that it can never be observed. So it means it doesn't exist. Stuff that can never be observed.
I'm not a glober, dude. I'm just saying this is.
It was a correct answer, at least.
This is how I've received answers from in my old days when I was much younger. When I asked these types of questions, that's what they said. Yeah, you can't see the motion of the Earth because you're moving with it, and above there are you would eventually be struck by some wind streams, and then you would see how the Earth moves under you, according to them. So because very high above, there are wind streams that blow constantly.
Yeah. So anyway, I haven't really been able to get a chance to speak. I just wanted to say something quick. Anthony did invite me on, and once I popped on, he has removed himself or whatever. So I just wanted to say I would like to have a chat with him and Soundly and some others maybe, because he is one of the flat earthers that can actually ask questions, take some in, and not just rhetorically ask questions for hours and hours like David does and deny every single thing. And furthermore, I would like to point out that I lived in Texas for 10 years of my life, and we made fun of people like David that are hicks, okay? I lived in Fort Worth, right? A stone's throw from Dallas, buddy.
Look at this character assassination. Nobody wants to hear
Cowtown.
Smoking! Hey, you got so many questions, you sound like a fool. You know that?
Sure I do.
For somebody that knows the Earth is flat, you sure have a lot of questions.
You, Timmy. I've heard you round. Dale likes your ankles, doesn't he? He likes your ankles, doesn't he?
Yeah, and you're a hick.
We've seen Dale tear you apart.
You're an absolute ignoramus that asks rhetorical questions for hours and hours and wastes everyone's time.
Where's your map at? You're supposed to be so smart. Where's your map at?
Well, we live on a three-dimensional surface, so maps are inherently 2D. You know that, right?
Yeah, we got questions, so you're asking more questions, right? You see the comments.
Exactly. That's all he does. He has no answers. He has just questions that he denies.
You cannot answer. That's the whole point here.
So go back and listen to yourself. Actually, write down how many questions you ask and how many times you actually agree with any of the answers. You're
because
pointless,
they're all wrong.
dude.
We know
You're
that.
Pointless.
You're wrong.
You have no answers for the flat Earth. You're a joke.
Sure I am.
He doesn't understand any of the answers either.
So what is this about?
His avatar's the Joker. He's come on here only to character defamate somebody.
he
and he's
does-
calling
he-
other people jokes.
We know who Timmy is.
Well, David
Yeah.
simply disrupts every conversation and makes
He does.
any kind of conversation
I do.
impossible.
We've won every debate I've been on. Y'all,
Like
y'all,
if flat earthers had the conviction to come and
legs.
prove, if flat earthers had the conviction to come and prove it, like say Arwen or some other people,
What's your number
they
one
can
proof,
accept
Ken, that we
some
live on a
things.
ball?
They can listen.
We-
They can listen.
were-
They don't just sit there and ask questions over and over, talk over everybody like this guy does.
I try
That's
to clear
exactly
up as
what you're
much as
doing.
possible. That's what I like
we
to
were
do.
having a good conversation.
I respect you,
where
Arwen.
Thank you.
I was finally being able to
Appreciate
speak,
it.
and then this guy comes on just to defamate character and call people hicks. That's so
Defamation of character.
intellectually-
Can you tell me what was defaming about what I just said?
Yeah. And who
Was
says
it the hick?
defamate?
Yeah, I want you to think how you sound to viewers.
You just
lost
said
yourself
I just
immense
defamed
credibility.
somebody, so please. What did I say?
You're
Timmy's a
derogatory-
globetrotter.
You're derogatorily trying to insult somebody with the
So
term
can you
hick.
answer the question what I said to
Yeah,
defame
it shows-
somebody?
It shows that you have no ground to stand on.
So you
Your
can't.
attack of stereotypes.
So you just assert things. Okay.
He
No, I'm
uses
just
calling
terms
out- I'm
he
just
doesn't know the
observing
meaning
your
of all the time.
observing your behavior and calling it for what it is.
I don't
True
really
seeker.
care about you observing my behavior. You can't even observe the spherical Earth that you live on, okay? And you know what? In
It's a
2 to
sphere,
5
not a
years, when
circle,
you
you
guys
claim.
figure this out, you're going
You
to feel
claim
like
it's
idiots.
a sphere, not a
I
circle.
don't drink fluoridated
Sir.
water.
Sir, you can't even get the shape right. You just said it's a circle. You claim it's a sphere.
My God.
Circles
Jesus.
are what we see in the sky.
Just
like moons.
unbelievable. Hey,
Hey.
do you guys have any evidence that the Earth is flat? Can you actually
I
prove
do.
the flat
I
Earth
have
to
it right
us?
now.
Because
I have-
we're
I
open
have
to it.
proof when I detach my drone from the supposed spin of the Earth.
No. The drone has
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. It could be a sphere, okay? It could be a geocentric sphere with your little drone experiment, okay? So what flat
Look,
Earth evidence do you have,
I
sir?
love it.
Where does
6
north
months
end on
ago-
your globe
no,
ball?
listen to
Where
this.
does
Well,
north
no, see
end?
more questions from David.
Listen to this. No, listen to this.
Do you guys have any proof of the
6
flat
months
Earth?
ago, 6 months
Water's
ago,
always
they
level.
would-
Dale told you
they
that.
never would have allowed.
Yeah,
they
it
would
is
never
low
have
actually
given-
on a sphere.
Yeah. That doesn't mean flat.
6 months ago, 6 months ago, they never would have even let the argument get to this point. This shows you that they're losing. They're
No,
out.
actually, you weren't in this 6 months ago, buddy, because you know
Yes,
what?
I
3
was.
years
I was.
ago,
I was
2
watching.
years ago, we had
I
a
was
channel
watching.
called Flat Earth Debates. Was exactly this right here 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
John Bond.
pretty much.
And you guys
You've
got
no
schooled.
viewership and you're still
I
butthurt.
had some pretty good discussions on those.
I
on
heard
those
every
It
hangouts.
debate.
was
I
not
listened to
John
all of them.
LeBon, you moron. John
John
LeBon
LeBon's
did not
debate.
host Flat Earth
Offensive.
debates.
John LeBon's the one that did their first original flat Earth debate.
John LeBon
You're
had
talking
Baller
about
Skeptic,
skeptic.
and he is a sphere earther. He's a geocentrist.
He is
okay?
not us. He's agnostic on both. He's
No.
not-
I've known
he's
John
not a-
LeBon for 5 years. Okay, he has a model called John LeBon Earth. It's a spherical geocentric model, sir. Okay.
And
Can we get back? Can we stop the he
style
said,
of
she
debate
said, and
that
get
was
back to
sent-
debating? Let's get back to
Yeah,
debating.
Let's get back to debating and asking questions that
No,
will
they
deny.
They lose when you do that.
Okay, so
David,
Yeah,
my
I'm really
drone.
happy
you're
to go back
terrible
to-
flat earther.
Well,
Let's-
David, if
let's-
we lose when we do that, then you should let us do that.
I
Go ahead.
appreciate David for the mockery he makes of Flat Earth.
I kind of wanted to answer.
I don't. I like the good argumentation. I like the good discussions. But when people come on and think that they know something and then just ask questions that they
You
deny,
like theoretical
it's
bull
pointless.
crap's what you like. You like stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything other than.
No, okay, sir. Is there two celestial points and arc
True.
star trails over your zenith at the equator? Is that
And we don't
is
want
that
to hear
true?
about that. We've already discussed
Is that true?
Okay.
I don't know.
When,
don't
when
wanna
we
hear
don't
about
see
it.
that.
Tim, I kind of wanted to answer your question about if I have any proof about the Earth being flat.
Please
And
do. Thank you, Corbin.
in the itty gritty social accepted avoiding way, I'd have to say that no, I don't. But I have absolute proof that it is not a globe, because the observations and how perspective works and how air density changes angles and all this mystery about perspective and very far distant perspective, it kind of makes the ball concept, which has to be exact in a way, it just
So,
makes it
Arwen, do you have
impossible.
your own definition of perspective? Because the perspective definition on the spherical Earth works with the spherical Earth. So, do you have another definition?
No, but there's just tests to like what happens with
Please.
perspective in pre-created exact flat surfaces, like in buildings, big warehouses, that type of stuff, and you get to see a very strange how do you say a kink
Phenomenal.
in the lines that go into the distance at some point, and this is a perspective effect. And there is more
So
of
is
these
this how
kind
the
of
sun sets and doesn't change in
visual
angular size?
anomalies.
You guys cannot explain a sunset that happens every day.
I'm not talking about.
Sorry,
I can
gotta
explain
stop
just
you before
talking
it
about
goes.
perspective.
Sorry,
Perspective.
gotta stop you. Gotta
I
interrupt the
can
chaos.
explain the
Sorry.
sunset right
Just
now.
bear with me, True Seeker. I just want to say hello to Pete Shea and to Spurs Schemo. Pleased to have you both here.
All right, mate.
Hey, I can
Oh
explain
my
the
God.
sunset. I can explain the sunset
Yeah.
right now.
Hey, how you
Yeah.
doing?
I understand.
Really
Guys,
care.
can you just
You
just
really
Here,
care.
let me describe what we see at
Truth,
the
for
sun
God's
every day.
sake, I've just said, just give me 10 seconds to say hello to 2 guests. I've already told you, every time you get interrupted and you go, God, I can't get a word in, it's because you're on top of your mic. It makes it really easy for the other guests to talk over you. Whereas if you just literally moved your mic away, you'd be heard and you'd continually be heard. You wouldn't get talked over. But you've already ignored me once and you're claiming that you're being interrupted. But that's why, because your mic's cutting. Anyway, if I can just say hello to Spurs Chemo and Pete without being interrupted, I'd be really, really grateful.
Yo,
Hi,
Nick.
Oh, God.
How you doing? Hey, Mama.
Yeah.
Looking great, man. Eleanor's looking fantastic. I'm thinking Eleanor Oakley, right? So I'm gonna try and put a few
What a cast.
different words to that tune for Eleanor.
All right.
She's gorgeous. But yeah, thanks for the
All
welcome.
right. So Arwen was talking about
All right,
perspective
so we can
causing the sun
talk
to
about
set.
the sunsets. I know how the sunsets work.
Hey, Spurs Schemo hasn't. You guys
Great,
were
please
talking
model
over
it
each
and
other.
explain it.
You were
I've got
talking.
enough.
Okay.
I've leveled him up.
You
He's
were
fine.
talking.
This
You
is,
can hear me,
this is
Mark.
an easy
Yeah, we
easy
can hear you,
experiment
Spurs.
anybody can do to prove
Yes,
the laws
Spurs.
of perspective.
Ah, cool.
Okay, take a 20-foot surface. It doesn't matter as long as it's level, and keep a light 3 feet above the table, and keep a camera on the surface of the table looking out towards the 20-foot edge, and keep that light at the same 3-foot elevation above the surface. At some point, depending on the lens of perspective, the light appears to set below the table, even though in reality it's physically above the surface.
Okay,
Have
I'll
you
give you
done
that.
this
But
in-
in
Yes,
this example, really quickly, I would just like to say, is that light changing in angular diameter as it gets further due to perspective?
I
We
still
don't
wanna
see
see
that
Yeah,
with the
that's a good
sun.
question.
I still want to see it below the table when it's 3 foot
Yeah,
above.
and Tim, don't concede that because that light will not set under the table.
That's a solid light that's
That-
moving.
that's-
the
that's-
sun is not
that's
solid.
false.
The sun is
Hey,
not a
Pete.
solid body, so you cannot apply your mathematics to something that is a reflection at its core, right? So you're
You
applying.
can say that it's a
How about
reflection,
we
Pete, but you have no
Can I-
evidence of
Can I
that.
get a
How
statement
about
there?
if we just break everything down mile for mile? Huh?
General. You're applying your math to something that you have misdescribed. The
Wait a
sun.
What's the
minute.
math? What's the math on a mile for mile? What's the math?
Stop asking questions. Have some answers. You know the
Pete,
Earth is flat.
Just
Please
give me
have
the
some
answer
answers,
there
sir.
to that
I
one,
have
Tim.
the answers for you.
Pete, have you driven a truck? Have you driven a big truck?
Yeah, how many
More
square miles
questions
of
from
Earth?
David.
How many square miles of Earth does the sun shine on? At
Doesn't
any
matter.
given
It's called
time?
the Terminator line, dude.
How many?
Doesn't matter.
How many square miles?
Tell me the later line.
The Terminator.
You don't know the answer. You don't know the answer to anything. Y'all just try to act like you do.
All right,
Yeah,
tell
well, you
us,
know what?
David.
There is an
You
answer
tell
for
us.
your questions. You act like there's no answer for these questions that you continually ask.
No,
okay?
I'm saying y'all don't know them.
You
I
are
wanna know
asserting
what
that
is
the
the
answer.
Earth is flat, but you have no evidence.
don't know 'em.
Okay.
I wanna hear
What
your
is the answer then to that question? If you're certain that is out there.
Go, David. He's
Total
asking-
I don't
silence.
even know. He's asked like 5 questions in the past
Total
5 minutes, so I
And
don't
he
even know what
doesn't
he's
know
asking.
the answer to any of them.
Total silence. Total
He was
silence.
asking how much surface area is covered by daylight at the same time. That was his question, if I
How
remember.
many square miles? How many
Yeah.
square miles of the sun?
What does that have to do with anything?
How far can you see the sun from all points? From
Just more red herring
west, north, and
questions.
south? How many square miles?
It's a question.
That's
Why
a
is it
really
just
ridiculous
ridiculous?
question.
That would be how many miles? That would be how many
Still
square miles
irrelevant.
the
It's still
sun
irrelevant.
covers in 24 hours. Okay,
It-
for every hour it goes, it's going 1,000 miles. Okay, so
Oh my
it's
God!
No, it does
No,
one
it's really
revolution
not.
per day. Okay, let's
that's
call
what
it
you
that.
say. That's
Tim,
what you say.
does half the Earth?
The sun does one revolution per day.
Hang
The
on,
ground speed is dependent upon the latitude that
Hang
it's
on.
over.
Tim, does half the Earth
It
not
varies.
necessarily have to be in daylight if the Earth is a ball and the sun is
At
a
any given time,
yeah.
more than half the Earth is covered with daylight.
Yes, more than half.
It's,
at all time?
it's
More than
roughly
half?
half, but yes.
Which is impossible on the flat Earth model with your spotlight going around in a circle.
No,
Well,
it's
they
not.
don't have a
It
model.
depends on the nature of the contour of the barrier
No,
epistemology.
it really doesn't, Pete.
Why does
See-
one light bulb not light up an entire warehouse?
Just
Oh my
really
God.
just red herring ad hoc questions
Wow.
that have nothing to do with anything.
Because
Amazing.
Oh,
You're not on the
Light
side of
bulb-
questioning.
A light bulb does light up an entire
But there is no truth in science, right? You're always coming closer and closer to something that appears to be truth, but there is no ultimate truth. And ye all speak as if you have ultimate truth, yet every one
So
of you
there's no
couldn't
objective
answer.
truth, Pete?
Couldn't answer. I could give about 10 questions that I could embarrass the shit.
I love answering
Right, I can
questions.
embarrass the shit out of you, shit.
Are
No.
you okay? You sound like you're in pain sometimes when you're speaking. I'm just checking on you.
Oh, what, you know that baby in the pram with the cigar? That's what I'm doing.
Checking on your well-being
So-
there, Pete, making sure you're okay.
So this panel right here does not represent flat Earth. I just want to say that because all
Sure
of
we
these
don't,
flat Earthers
Timmy.
on
Sure
here
we
are
don't.
poor flat Earthers.
Oh, they're all.
I don't represent.
We're just glad that you're on the globe side. Is all
Oh,
I can say. That's what we're glad of.
Yeah, you know what? Someday when you figure out the Earth is a globe and flat Earth doesn't go anywhere, even though the mainstream pushes it, you're gonna feel like an idiot calling us idiots trying to tell
Man,
you the
you
truth.
don't even
No,
have
we
a
don't,
map. Of,
really.
you're arguing for an invisible map. Is what
That-
you're doing.
that's a
You
point
you
against
argue
you,
for an
David.
invisible map. You
A
don't
map
even
is
have
a
a map
2D
of your globe.
representation. We live on a
Okay.
3D object. Thank you.
Question for Tim or Brenda, please. The map. If you say the ball Earth map is accurate, right? The ball that we've all grown up with. If that's accurate,
No, I don't say maps are accurate. Maps
Well, the ball-
distort.
Oh, here we go.
well, the ball is the ball, right?
Ding, ding.
The sphere is accurate, sure.
Yeah, the sphere. So I'm talking about the sphere. So right,
Okay.
you look into. This is my question. Right, very brief. This is
Where's
my-
that?
Right. If you look at the map from Liberia, the main airport in Liberia, which is on the west coast of Africa, to the east coast of Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, is 3,000 miles. Can you tell me, right? Can you tell me, and I'll also like flat earthers ask the same question. Can you tell me why that flight, first of all, always goes to Morocco and always takes 19 and a half hours? 3,000 miles.
It goes north to Morocco?
What
Goes
is he
to
talking
Morocco, Arwen,
Okay.
and I know why. But I want that question. I'm posing that
That's
question to
what
Brett.
the
or
airlines
any-
do. The airlines have a very strange circle-centric tendency to go through the North channels, and this kind of is a backup for the circle-centric
No,
model. But it's
no.
Unless
They try to
That's
fly
just
great
it. That's just
circle
what they
routes
do.
as best as possible.
boats don't do it. Boats
Okay,
The
so
great
you,
circle is a straight line.
You can't always follow the Great Circle route because there are requirements for the nearest diversion airport in case single or multiple engines fail on the plane. There needs to be they can only have a certain amount of range once they have multiple engine failures, and they need to be able to divert. So they can't always follow the Great Circle route.
this is a
What's
quick
incredibly
skip.
odd.
Not
Say as
always.
best
They
as
Hang on, this is a quick
possible.
skip across the ocean. 3,000 miles.
It's not always. They never.
If you built a bridge from Alaska to Russia, could you drive all the way around the world?
God.
Probably
Pete,
not.
What was?
No, I
What
don't.
were your
Couldn't you?
two,
Couldn't you? You could go on every
Locations,
land
No.
mass except for Australia. Isn't that correct?
what were your two locations, Pete?
Liberia and Rio de Janeiro. Let me just find the airport in Liberia.
Liberia and Rio.
Yeah, it's really
Maybe
weird.
30, I understand why it's 30 because according to the Dodo map, it's I
Oh
made
my
a guess.
god.
Hang on. I made a guess before I looked at the time, right? Because can I just speak for 30 seconds uninterrupted, if you don't mind? Because I've been saying this about the globe Earth map, and there's problems with the Gleason's map and the flat Earth maps, right? All the flat Earth maps indicate a very minimal distance between the east coast of Brazil and the west coast of Africa. I knew it wasn't, and before I got the time, I made a guesstimate from the Dodo map, and I said 18 hours, and it's 19 and a half hours, and I understand completely why it goes through Morocco, which is a completely random, direction to take according to the globe and the flat Earth.
Are there more passengers and everything going to Morocco? And then they fly the short trip down to Liberia from there. I assume you're in Monrovia.
Well,
This is
many routes go
airport.
through Europe or
Listen,
near
this is
Europe.
the distance given is 3,000 miles. Whatever the routes are, these are modern cities for the most part, right? Big business centers. You got the west of Africa, the east of Brazil. 3,000 miles. That's a hop, skip, and a fucking jump. You know, in terms of
What?
travel. How do you
Watch your mouth, Pete.
Don't swear. Come on.
These places are miles and miles apart. They're I think about 9,000 miles. I calculated. So
what y'all
that
trying
would
to
work
do
out.
You're trying to build
It's
a
all
motor
about
and not
it,
have
yeah.
all the parts here, okay? You don't have a map that you can even use to try to figure this
Okay,
stuff
a
out.
map
because
is a
all the
2D
maps are
representation. We live on a
All
sphere,
the
sir.
maps
Can
are
you
wrong,
can you
okay?
understand that?
Projections.
No, the
That is a
maps are not
flat Earth
wrong. Quit
failure.
telling that lie. The maps are not wrong.
Why are you
Okay.
saying
Yeah,
they
there's
are?
tons
then,
of
Maps are
maps
David?
that are
all
wrong.
projections.
David,
They're
you're
not set
saying
to
they
scale.
are.
Nothing is set
You're
to scale.
saying they
Don't try to sit
are.
there
That's
and
why
act
How are
like
they right, David?
They're not
map.
literal.
Every conclusion
David
that you come up
completely
with from a map
destroys any
is
attempt
wrong.
at
Okay?
argument.
Yeah, he does.
He's
Just
contradicting
completely
himself.
Every
destroys
map-
any
just
kind of
contradicted
conversation.
himself.
Everybody is
ratio of all
talking
the maps are
over
wrong.
each
So
other.
how can you try to figure out where the planes are flying from when you don't even know the ratios of the maps that you're looking at are all
I would like
completely
to
wrong.
vote that David
They are
be
wrong.
ejected.
They are wrong, David. Well done, yeah. But
We
we are
know
That's
the
open.
ratios.
Google Earth.
and we
This is
know-
where you can catch. This is where you can catch anyone out. Really, you can catch yourself.
No, quit with the rhetoric. We know the different distortions in the different maps
Right,
based
hang on.
on how the projection was
But how do you explain a
transformed.
3,000-mile trip taking 20 hours, man? I
Wait,
can
Pete,
explain that.
what was the two locations again? What were the two locations?
Oh, I see. I didn't get a chance to look it up. It was Liberia. The main airport in
Liberia. And Rio de Janeiro.
What city in Liberia?
It's the main airport.
Monrovia, probably.
That's it.
Monrovia, Pete.
Monrovia
Thank you.
to Rio de Janeiro.
When I searched, yeah,
There's no direct flights because there's not enough commercial interest for a direct flight.
All right, if you
told you
can't
that's
get enough
a-
people
that's a
to
pretty
pay
lame
for a
excuse.
seat, if you can't get enough people to pay for a seat, the airline's not going to have a flight there.
Man, they
Right,
don't even
but-
have a map. Anything flying over the water, you can't trust. Okay. Anything
So-
flying
so
over
the
water,
airlines
you
are
don't know
saying-
which way you're going.
David,
Great
be quiet.
assertion, David. Thank you for that. We're all smarter
saying,
because
David,
you're
that-
here.
all the maps are
I
wrong.
just- Can we
There is
get
a
back
map
to
there.
debating something
Pete?
real? This has devolved into some
Yes,
joke.
yes. Let's get back to how the spherical model that has been perfected for thousands of years
Thousands
by
of
millions
years.
of different
Thousands of years.
scientists. Hold on, sir. I'm talking. Thank you very much. Hey, how is it wrong? Besides, I don't feel like I'm spinning and water's flat. How is it wrong,
Well,
please?
I hate to say
You
it,
don't feel like you are
water
spinning.
must
You
be
working
perfect.
on the globe
Okay, so
models.
how is the globe Earth wrong, guys?
I'd love to live in your world, Tim.
The concept
There's
was
no
thought of
curvature?
before, but
There
it's
is no
really
He's
they
on
really start
medication.
working
Leave
on
him
it during
alone.
the Renaissance.
Observationally, how is the spherical model wrong? Geocentric or heliocentric? Please debunk it.
Do you have
There is
ADD
no
or
observed
HD?
curvature.
There's
Well,
no curvature. Okay,
what
so
you get
when
to
I
see-
say that there's
Something better than
obstruction
that,
in
Dave.
many
Take
videos
that.
and many pictures, you're just going to say that it's atmospheric conditions. Okay,
Yes,
That's what
cool.
you,
Well, that's
what
why
say.
you think that
That's
there's
what
no
you say
curvature.
whenever we see Chicago from other cities.
it doesn't match up.
You say it's an atmospheric
Stupid, isn't it? This is just
misrepresentation.
insane English.
I just had a video explaining this. Okay, Joshua Nowicki took a time lapse where there was a Fata Morgana, or rather a superior mirage. Okay, where you can actually see the buildings being stretched. Okay, on a normal day, you
It's
cannot
odd
see that whole
how much-
skyline.
How many
Can we
theories
let
your
people talk?
explanations rely on? You rely on all these phantom mirages and the fact that my senses aren't working right.
No, I
wonder-
don't.
wonder
That is a
if
rare
I
event.
just- I-
No,
I-
a
I-
mirage
That's why it
is
was
a
on the
reflection.
news. It's rare.
It's not a
Are you
mirage.
trying to pull one over on
You
me?
guys
It
are
feels like you're
relying
being
on
dis-
it.
It feels like you're being intellectually dishonest.
No, a mirage is your senses working perfectly fine.
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like it's not
Mirage
like you're
is
trying to convince me
I think mirage is
that my eyes aren't
Atmospheric
working
reflection usually due to heat,
Yeah, this
and
That's
it has
how-
nothing to do
how
with
can I-
perspective. Perspective
Guys,
cannot be
guys,
that.
That's correct.
How
That's
can I
correct.
independent-
Arwen is
how can I
correct. Mirages have
independently-
to do with refraction, not
And guys,
perspective.
so
Exactly, thank you,
I
Brandon.
love everything that you're saying because it makes sense. But how can I independently verify for myself?
Go do observations of obstruction and
Silence.
try to figure it out if it's on a
It's
spherical
crickets.
map or
It's
on a
crickets.
fucking.
It's all
Excuse me.
crickets after this because you guys have
No,
nothing,
where do you-
have nothing to stand
there-
on.
You can Google 10 things.
I can
you know,
Google
you
if
can
somebody
Google
landed on the
how
moon.
can I verify
And
for
Google
myself.
Google will even tell me that people landed on the moon and that airplanes
No,
can
no,
take
no,
down
that's-
steel towers.
Yeah, I
Google
wasn't
tells
going to
me.
say that though.
Monkeys went to space.
God, you guys are
It
so
might have.
dim.
The goose gallop in here is
Put into a
insane.
search.
Yeah.
how can I- if you search for how can I verify for myself that the Earth is round, or how can I measure the curvature of the Earth myself,
That
You'll get-
specific
you'll-
Well, you
question-
need to know
You'll
the
get
exact
different
radius
questions.
for starters,
Yeah,
and
you
then
think
you
there's
can
dead
start
monkeys
measuring.
flying around, lost in last
have
out in space?
experience,
Yeah,
guys.
monkeys they sent up
Guys.
there or out there, and they're
I
just
talked
floating
shit.
around in infinite
I
space.
talked
Right
This
now.
is a joke. I mean, you guys
get
call
links to
yourselves
articles.
adults.
I
Seriously.
talked so
Links,
much
yeah, they're
shit
not
on
adults,
the
they're
flat
children.
Earth.
They're
I
children.
talked so
No, but
much
it's funny.
shit on
All
the
the
flat Earth.
flat earthers here have shown their faces, right?
Well,
Isn't it
Pete,
funny how
Pete, you're not showing any
I've
respect.
shown my
You're not
face,
showing any
Pete.
never
respect.
show their face? This is
Yeah,
why
it took
this
you
I've shown
about
my
2 years.
face,
Didn't it?
Pete.
Didn't it?
Nah,
Yeah, it took
come on.
you about 2 years, and they found you over to look at sneaking in on that flat Earth deal. I remember that.
Here,
They
real
found
quick,
me when I
real quick.
told IPS I was going there. I showed him a picture of the front of
No,
the
that was
thing.
before that.
I was on live, and I actually posted in his chat, "Hey guys, I'm right here." So yeah, they found me, guys. They found me.
Hey,
Well,
6 months ago, I believed in the spinning ball.
but you don't show your face regularly, though. I think you can't look somebody in the
I don't
eye
need
and
to,
come out with
Pete.
these
You
bullshit
show your
lies.
face. It doesn't matter. I know you're full of crap, dude. It
Really?
doesn't matter.
Really, that's why I can answer pretty much every one of your questions.
It doesn't matter.
You can't answer.
You
any-
can answer questions,
let's
but
not
your
get-
explanations are just your explanations. It doesn't mean that it's true,
Well,
Pete. You
let's
talk
get
about
back to
semen and a
debate,
spine and a
guys.
pineal
Come on.
gland. You're full of crap, dude.
There's a truth to be had there, Tim, isn't there? You'd have me believing in I looked out tonight. The moon is right there. Tell me, even if it's 250,000 miles away, why does it look as if it's about 10 miles away, Tim?
The moon
Jeez,
and the
because
sun
it's
are out
big,
together,
maybe?
the moon's
I don't
not
know.
even
That's
full.
big, is it?
Well,
That's not
technically,
even. That's just a dumb
super
question.
large distances
Excuse
would
me.
make things impossible for our eyes to see because we have a perspective limit. We should
No,
technically
what is that limit, and who
physically
says
be
that limit?
unable to see objects that far.
How do you know that?
Well,
Who says
because
that?
even on the horizon, when you go up very, 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 very high, eventually there will be a point where you just can't see anymore.
Yeah, because the
Hey,
Earth is
can
sphere.
we get a mic
No.
check
Everything's
here?
right there. Everything is right there.
No, because
What is
if
your
you would do
definition
that, you would know that what you see at the horizon doesn't match up with the assumed curve that the Earth should have according to science with its radius. It doesn't line up.
Yesterday they said the curve starts at 1 mile, but they can't show us that either.
The curve
Well,
starts at your feet, bro.
Darwin.
Right?
Arwen,
What is
what is your definition of perspective? You were asked that
Perspective
before and you
is
couldn't
that
answer.
which is within sight. And it has to
Your
do with
definition
optics,
of
with how
perspective
light.
is that which
work,
is
basically.
within sight.
Hmm?
That's your definition of perspective?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're dealing with here, man.
As,
That
Can
as,
was
something,
that which is
Arwen, can you
within
refine
sight?
that?
as something moves
Can you
away into
refine
distance,
that
Within,
definition, Arwen?
within the vision circle around you. Every
you
person
view
has a
something-
vision circle. You can't
That's-
see beyond it. It's impossible.
So your
Even
as-
objects in the sky
from your,
Your
would not be
definition
visible
of-
beyond that line.
a smaller angle in terms of the greater viewing.
your definition of perspective is the vision circle around you?
Now
That's
that's,
your
the perspective limit. That's the edge.
No, but what is your definition of perspective?
Hey, Truth Seeker's mic is killing me. Can something be done with that crackle? Thanks.
What is
This
your
is part of the
definition
problem is that they
perspective,
run around with misnomers. They run around with bad ideas that are pitched by people in the community. And what happens is this us versus them mentality where they can't even listen to us. They can't even logically think about what we're saying, like two celestial poles, equinoxes, all
So
these different things.
So we got a north
We
pole, right?
listen.
Where's that
Hey,
north
hold
pole
on,
land
that's
at?
not-
I've
we
been
listen to the-
switching
we
the
listen to the
subject
globe.
mid-question.
We
What's
listen
the
to
The
annoying-
North
Where's that
Pole,
north
the
celestial
geological
land?
North Pole is different from the south or the North
You're
celestial
doing
pole.
it
Do you
again.
understand
Again,
this?
we change the subject. It's the
Right.
constant changing of these heavy subjects
Right,
that's
so-
so tiresome.
So
This
talk
is
about
what they do.
Yeah.
Arwen.
Yeah.
This is the idea.
Arwen. Arwen, keep talking about perspective.
Okay,
try to
thank you.
refine your definition of that, and let's get an understanding.
Well,
of
perspective
No,
is
they're
is
only
about
optics.
focusing on this because they have nothing else to talk about. This
Oh
is a
my
joke.
God,
Yeah, this guy
I
is
mean,
just
people don't
useless,
even-
man.
don't
Arwen.
even-
Useless.
You guys
Find
are
the
just
nearest
spouting
bridge,
scientific-
please, and prove gravity for
You
us.
guys
come
are
on,
just
Tim.
spouting
Just
blind faith beliefs.
Keep going, Arwen.
You guys
Keep
have no
going. We'll
proof.
hear you eventually.
have
Dude,
no
can
proof.
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
please
Arwen.
answer the question? He
You're
was
just
asking
spinning
me.
blind
Well,
faith
truth doesn't
beliefs.
respect you, Arwen.
I don't know if he does.
No,
Arwen's
he
turn to go,
obviously
Arwen.
doesn't since
All
he
right,
talks
just
over
let it
you.
go. Just
I
let him go.
respect intellectually honest
Let him
people,
go.
and there's a lot of dishonest people in this forum right now.
Okay, Arwen,
Yeah, I
go.
agree. Your ignorance is showing right
Then
to us
claim-
all.
Then
So,
here,
Arwen,
look,
go
I
ahead.
am begging you. I am begging you to show me how I'm ignorant. I'm actually not ignorant. I was a Glober 6 months ago. I didn't get into this.
That doesn't mean
I didn't
anything
get
to me,
into this.
okay? Doesn't mean
You
anything.
said just Google search. No, it will mean something to you because you said just Google search best proofs of the globe. That's actually how I became.
I didn't say that.
I said that.
Somebody did. I thought it was you.
I said that. I said
the second that I Google searched the best evidences for a globe that I could prove myself. That's when I said, "Holy shit, these are the worst evidences ever."
They're politicians, man. Instead of politicians, they're
Politicians.
politicians.
Let's have a recap show
Right.
instead of actually
Nice
showing
one,
evidence.
Yes,
All right,
and that's all.
Arwen,
globe.
you understand
That's
the role
why-
that angular
that's why the globe
resolution
has-
plays
So-
in
that's
your
why the
ability?
globe
Arwen's
has
turn.
been
Go ahead,
object.
Arwen.
Arwen was talking before Truth disrespected him.
Hey, David, that's a good one. Politicians. That's
Yeah,
a good
I like that one. It's nice wordplay.
Hey, Arwen, try to include angular resolution in your definition of perspective.
That's a new
okay?
term. You heard
Shut up, Pete. Pete, let Arwen speak, please. Arwen, go.
Well, what I see as perspective is how things are visually represented to our eyes from the space beyond. It's basically the workings of how objects change size in accordance to their distance and all the effects thereof. It's basically optics. Perspective is all about optics, how light changes in angle and all that stuff, and how it functions with our eyes and with cameras as well.
So that is your definition of perspective. I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Yeah, that's
vision over
basically
here,
it.
okay?
I base
We
it
got
all on
20/20
optics.
vision.
I was very interested in optics at school.
Hey, Arwen, how about the proportionality of apparent size and distance and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, and furthermore, does anything in perspective have anything to do with obstruction?
Like only the bottom would disappear because of perspective somehow.
Well, there you.
still go with
The
that?
thing about that with perspective is that, what we usually get to see when we zoom in on the horizon is a zoomed in thing, and that kind of changes perspective elements. I think, like a zoom is not really. You're not really looking that far. You're just zooming in the image, basically. That is really, really fast. That's what digital zooming is these days.
Well, you're
but
still looking
the
that
thing
far.
is that the further things go away, they start to eventually behave differently optically, and there is things vanish. Basically,
Is this just an assertion,
Black
or is
gets blurred
this,
up.
can you justify that in any way? Can you demonstrate it? Can you model it? Can you
It's
do
like
anything?
it's how light basically eventually, probably because of the medium that it's traveling through, is distorting.
So that's just
it
an assertion,
bends
and you
first,
just said
it
probably
bends
as
like in a
well.
prisma. It bends first, and then it becomes so refracted that it just becomes this weird, meshy thing, and then just disappears further down.
As an
like
object
looking
moves away
underwater.
from you, does it shrink uniformly in size as it decreases in angular size?
You answer
At
that
first,
question. You
yes,
answer that. Let him
but
answer that
after the
question.
blurry
Answer
part,
your own question.
no.
Shut up, David. He's answering the question. Go ahead, Arwen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, at first, things do proportionally shrink in size, but after this certain point where things get blurry, you get these weird effects, then no longer.
Okay,
That's
what
the
is that
weird
point?
thing. It
Where-
changes.
what is that point?
Well,
That's
the
where the
point
curve
is
starts at.
things get blurry. Things they get blurred out and in. It's like with the boats on the horizon. You've seen the zoomed in footage of that. You get these weird effects. That's when they're at the edge.
Okay. All right,
And
leave
then
the ocean.
after that, things are technically still visible, possibly,
All right. How about
if they happen to be in the path that the light that's traveling up to your eye is taking that far. But
okay.
the
What's the farthest the
proportions
light's
would
ever
not
been
shrink
seen?
in
What's
the
the
same
farthest the
size.
light's
More
ever been
questions from
seen?
David.
What's
Arwen,
the
how about
farthest
with
a light has ever been
B900
seen?
or God
How many miles is it that the
telescope?
farthest light
Shut
the
up,
light
David.
the
We
light
don't need your
has ever been
stupid
seen? You don't know
questions.
it. You don't know the
You
answer.
see what I'm saying? Arwen,
You
with
argue
the
for stuff,
B900
but you don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer. The Earth is flat then. Well done, David.
David
with a
David is
B900 or
disrespecting
telescope.
Arwen.
Or a
You
telescope.
understand reality.
And you're looking at an
Looking at
airplane,
books
Arwen.
written by
You're
others.
looking at
That's
a
like charlatan blind faith.
767 flying in the sky, Arwen, okay?
Sorry, again?
You're looking at a 767 flying in the sky. And
Yes.
it's flying away from you,
Mhm.
okay? Now you have a
How about
peanut
if you
under
lit
the
up a
God
million
forbid
watts?
David,
telescope.
come on.
How about if you lit up 1,000,000 watts on the ground in a light bulb and pointed it straight
David.
out over
How
the
about
ocean?
I'll
why
answer
don't
the
you
question
watch
Shut
after
up.
this,
David?
okay?
Okay, so now as the plane flies away from you, it's going to
Yes.
get smaller and smaller. Okay.
Indeed. I get to see this out of my window a lot. So
Okay, and you've got a strong enough telescope. You're able to see it. It's not a matter of blurry or anything like that. Okay.
yes.
You're going to be able to see this airplane
Mhm.
until it either goes below the horizon, gets blocked by something else, or decreases in angular size to where it exceeds the limit of your optics. You're not able to magnify it enough to see it any longer. It's not a matter of some point where it gets blurry. See,
No,
with the
what
boat,
it does because
what's the
of
argument?
perspective
no.
limit of the camera.
No.
Yes.
You're talking about this
He
is a
just
special
answered
situation.
your
This is
question,
a
man.
joke of a discussion.
Arwen, with the ship, a large ship that you can see for a great distance over the ocean, you can experience atmospheric conditions that will also limit your ability. But you also do see ships that obviously go below the horizon when you still have a good clear view of the ship.
The atmosphere
Yes.
is
Like
made
the-
up of molecules. You can
the-
only see through so many molecules, man.
No.
Okay.
goodbye.
Okay, nice assertion,
Goodbye.
David. Very well.
Goodbye, David.
Here, can we get back to actually talking about something of substance? Because this is all
Why?
circular.
You have a
guys
problem
just
with
go
this,
in
don't you?
circles.
Perspective
You have a
is
problem with
He
this.
said, she said, he
We're
said,
talking
she
about
said.
perspective.
Yeah,
We're talking
Hey, guys,
about
we have
perspective and
a
what it
ton of
really is.
cooks in the kitchen right now. Can I just say, Spurs, do you have anything to comment on? You kind of been quiet.
yeah, I do actually. I want to know why.
Spurs
Yeah.
team up. Spurs team up.
Oh
That's
my
priceless.
God.
How does it feel to be talked over? Because that's all you guys do.
Listen to who's
Yeah, I'm a
talking.
gorilla, bro. It's gonna
They're
happen.
politicians.
everybody's
No,
doing
it's funny
They're
because
very hard
politicians.
the second you get a dose of your own medicine, it's all just silence and laughs.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the recap, bro.
Well, because it sounds like I'm the only real person in here that actually wants to move these forward. Everybody else.
Yeah, great
is
opinion. I
perfectly
appreciate
cool
it. Do
staying
you have any
stagnant.
facts?
Yes, I have multiple facts that you keep.
Great,
you
go
keep
ahead.
Going to blind faith and asserting that isn't real.
Go
I keep
ahead.
Going to,
That's
I
not a
keep
fact.
going into
That's an opinion.
repeatable. I keep
Go ahead.
going into repeatable.
Give an
observable
example.
Experiments in
Give an
physical
example.
reality.
Give
Go
an
ahead.
example.
Physical reality that anybody can observe.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go.
quit chatting about it and
Okay.
give it.
Why can't? Because you claimed it couldn't before. Why can't my drone detach its velocity from the spin of the Earth?
That's
Okay,
not the
we-
shape of the Earth,
so
you
we-
moron.
We just had this conversation, right? You wouldn't tell me how the drone hovering over your desk is any different than the drone hovering in an airplane.
That's not. Look, you answer a question
It's
with another
friction,
question.
man. Everything's got to do with friction.
I was-
You're on
I was
the
having a
ground. There's
conversation with
molecules in the
David.
air.
David,
Everything.
Can you muzzle yourself?
That's the
real quick?
answer to that. Okay.
That's your answer for that, buddy.
It's in your house or in an airplane. It's both in a contained environment.
Can we have something related to the shape of the Earth, please?
Yes, please.
How many square miles of land are there on the face?
That is
of
just
the
a stupid question again.
Can we have something related to
square
the
miles?
shape
Huh?
of the Earth, please?
Truth. What
How many,
is your
how many continents will fit inside the Africa?
14.
Yeah,
Next.
thank you.
continents? Serious?
Yes.
Well,
You don't know
it's
about
not
the
that
7
big. I
undiscovered
think
continents?
North America, South America,
Yeah, that
China,
should
a
fit
bunch
in
of them
there.
fit inside of it. Just look up, just Google
No, they don't.
how many countries will fit
Africa is
inside.
really big.
he said he confused countries and continents.
Whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
North
Whatever.
America and
He's
South
a
America
noob.
could probably fit in Africa.
Plus
Okay.
about 10
What-
more.
Can we talk about the shape
No,
of
it's
the
not
Earth,
that big.
please? Truth Seeker has
it's
proof and
pretty
evidence.
big.
It's really large, but it's not
Oh.
that big.
Truth Seeker has facts. So he's going to talk about facts right now related to the
Yes,
shape
he has
of the Earth.
proven the Earth is flat with a drone. Can we go on to that? How it proves that it's flat, not a geocentric sphere Earth?
It couldn't hover if the Earth was a globe.
Hey, Truth, did your drone have a fisheye lens, or did you manage to avoid that? Because most do these days.
You want a wide-angle lens if you want
Sure.
to get more of a picture, right? Globuster
No,
is
here's
all
what-
you
about
don't
saying
need
everything
Here-
from space is
No, you
okay.
don't
Go ahead
need
and
a
talk
GoPro.
over me. Go ahead.
GoPros are cheap, but it's not helpful.
Well, you can
Fisheye
correct.
is
You can
helpful.
correct for
Fisheye is
lens
very
distortion. You can correct for lens distortion in After Effects and things like that.
Yeah,
Think
but
about
Fisheye
this.
is
still,
very
Think
good
about
when you
this.
want a large
US
field of view.
just get
Think about
It's a
this:
straight
USA, China, India, East Europe, Germany, France, Spain, China too, Japan, and Great Britain fit just inside of Africa.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
How about that? That is
How about
amazing.
that? How about
Okay.
that?
How do you know that, David? How do you know that, David?
Yeah, he's actually contradicting himself again because he said that we don't have a proper map. No, there's
We
no
do,
map.
it's not-
There's
it's
no
not-
model.
so show me a picture where they're laid out like that.
We do
No,
know
no,
the
no, no,
surface
no.
and the
Show me
size
a
of the
picture where they're
countries.
laid
No,
out.
how does David know? How
Square mile
does
for square
David?
mile. Where's
No.
the
Yeah,
square
David,
mile?
you just asserted something. Please prove it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank David. Come on. Or keep busting yourself out. Your choice.
You're pathetic, dude. You're in the wrong room for this
Come
right now.
on, Tim.
Hey, it's true.
Man, they can't answer no questions. They don't even have a map. They sit
You
around
can't hear
discussing
me?
stuff.
You can't
without a
answer any
map.
questions about the
Well,
flat
show us
Earth,
the
you
map.
freaking
Show us the
clown.
2D map with all the continents right size in comparison to
You
each other.
can't even ask
Let's
these
see that.
questions.
Talk.
Let's
He's
see
asking.
one.
Come on,
He
David.
talks all the time, and he's saying the same thing day after day after day after day
No,
after
because
day.
because we're arguing about nothing here because
We're
you
not
don't have a
arguing,
map.
David. You're not even in an argument. You're a sideshow. You're a circus clown.
Uh-huh.
Come on. I
just
want
question.
to hear David's question. What's your question, David?
I want to
Listen
know
to the
how
last
many
7 shows.
Come on, let him talk. Come on.
if all these continents or all these countries will fit just as Africa, how can you make any? How can you make?
How do you know that, David?
Come on, let him
I
talk.
don't want to hear this.
No, he keeps.
Yeah, how do you know
asserting-
that?
All
Come
the-
on,
if
Chris,
all
come
the
on.
Very
if
important
all
question.
the land masses are not to scale, how can you come to any conclusions?
How have you?
The ball being
How
the
have
right,
you?
what you're
No,
fighting
but
for,
the
the
continents-
spinning ball. How can you
I have
fight
an
for
answer for
being
that,
right
David.
if
I have an
you
answer
don't
for
even
that.
have a 2D map that's even close to being correct laid out?
Yeah, because again, 2D maps cannot represent to the great extent of a 3D object. Okay, it's
Yeah.
Of course they
impossible. That's
can't.
why the AE map is good for
Why
the
is it a
northern
3D
hemisphere.
object? The reason is the
that's a
3D
simple
object is
fact.
because of the water, right?
That's it.
Isn't
No,
the
no,
water-
no,
the
that's
Earth- isn't the Earth
not.
3/4
No,
of the
flat
water?
maps are projections. That's the
Aren't-
thing about it, and the
They just
relative
scale
size
it.
doesn't really
Arwen.
matter.
There's miles. It's mile for mile for mile. Okay,
Arwen, a
every country
projection
has
of
a
what?
limited number of miles on the land.
A
Arwen, a
projection
projection of what?
has scales. It doesn't have to be
David
doesn't
exact
understand
representation.
geometry.
Arwen,
They
a
made it to
projection
fit.
of what? Do you know
Of-
what projection means here? A
Yes, a
projection
projection.
of
I
what?
know that you don't even have a projection of a
Representation.
map that looks right. Okay, you don't
I'm
even have a
trying to hear you,
projection of a
Arwen.
map. That
Yeah,
looks
because the
right.
Earth is a sphere. We agree with you. Okay, we do.
Talk
where's
louder
your-
than David. I'm trying to hear you, Arwen. A projection of what?
Sorry
A
to interrupt you,
projection
Arwen. Can I
of
just say a
what-
quick hello? Sorry, Arwen. I know you'll
That's
be good.
okay.
Yeah. Can I just say a quick hello to P Mars? Please have you, P.
AP.
Hey, P. P. UP?
So, hey, can I ask a question? There was a guy named Matrix Decode. He was a flat earther in John LeBon's show. He was a flat earther for like a year or more.
I
And
know.
he
I
has
was
his last
subscribed
two videos show pretty large boats, one further than the other, and it seems to be obstructed. Is there any explanation for why this doesn't work in a spherical model?
Yeah, ballers say it's because that's where the curve starts. Isn't that what you say? That's where
So-
the curve starts. That's why you can't
I
see
just
it.
had a question and you just answered it with question.
I'm asking you a question. That where the curve starts.
Yeah, I
at.
know. I just said that.
Well, how far
what?
were the boats apart?
How far is the curve from where you're talking about at? Where's
The
that curve start
camera
at?
says so as well. The camera says the
Can't even answer a
horizon
question.
is obstructing.
Yeah, where's the curve start at?
The curve
would you-
technically
would you-
starts at your feet.
I want to get into content. Like
Hang
these
on. Do we all
boats.
agree on
Can't. You won't
There's
be
an
allowed
obstruction
to-
in between
we
these
agree on this.
boats.
I haven't
be
spoken
allowed
yet.
to.
We don't
David
agree on
will
the starting
continually
point, right?
talk over
fuck's sake,
you and
guys.
everybody
Yeah.
else.
Right, just let's keep talking. If we don't agree on starting points, right, then we're lost. Any point after that, we're lost. Will you all agree? All the bowler antagonists here. Will you all agree that there are optical phenomena that we have to take into account when we're viewing anything over a great distance?
You're a ball earth antagonist. We are not. We're proponents of the ball earth. Do you
Well, they're
understand that?
politicians. They're politicians, man.
Tim, you know the Earth is flat and stationary. Every one of you know the Earth is flat and stationary.
Yeah.
No,
That's
don't
an
don't assert
outright
and
lie.
say that I know something that you have no idea if I do not.
Come on.
Outright lie.
You're too
He
intelligent.
doesn't even know his own beliefs, much
If I
less
was to
anyone
ask
else's.
all of you, let's just
He
switch
is
positions
mentally
around.
ill.
Hang on, I
Quite
could do it
literally.
quite easily. I could make a good case for the ball, or I could make an adequate case, right? If I was to ask you to make a good case for the flat Earth, would you be able to do it curved?
Yeah,
I
Surely
could.
there must be some. Would you be
What
able to make a
happened?
good case? Is the point? And I think each and every one of you will say no.
No.
I couldn't do it because
No, I
it's stupid, it's
can't.
retarded.
Yeah.
Because you know, the minute you start to make a good case, the game is up. That's all I have to say.
It's a theoretical model, and
It's
you guys have to admit that it's very, as a glober, and I remember this personally, it's almost impossible to really get in because it just agitates you once
No, I'm
you
not
hear this
agitated
stuff.
at all.
No, I actually almost fell for the flat Earth like 3 years ago, guys. And then I did research like the star trails, equinoxes, and stuff like this. And it's quite evident when you are doing unbiased research that the Earth is more than likely a sphere over a flat Earth or concave. Okay.
What was the best piece of evidence?
A sphere over a flat Earth.
whole
No,
That's a
hey,
good
hey,
one.
Tim is
Hang on, what's
actually
the best piece of evidence?
he's
Tim?
right.
Like,
It is a flat
when you were
Earth
in
over-
the flat Earth, what was the best piece of evidence?
Oh, I've got about 10 of them all talking at once. I'm going to do one final link. So, let's put my camera on. We have about 10 minutes left on this stream, so if you did want to join to do any last minute trolling, now is your opportunity. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, simply click on the link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute your watch page before you join the show. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. I will return just one more time to say a big thank you to the audience, but for the last 10 minutes, I shall transition back to the action.
So I almost fell for it for a couple weeks, and I was doing huge research into it because I had
the rest of the
time.
conspiracies went out.
Yeah, I did that too, by the way.
The flat Earth,
No,
realization.
Pete, they did not go out. Pete, I just said that I need to be more objective about it. I'm not going to say no one died on 9/11. I'm not going to say that there's no planes on 9/11. I'm going to say that the official story seems to not corroborate what we are shown.
Yes.
You will say no one died in Boston bombing, right? You will say that.
Okay, the Boston bombing, the Boston hoaxathon firecracker bombing, dude. Come on.
Well, at least you will say that. I'll give that to you. How about you, Kurt?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we got clear footage of that.
Brenda? Is that
It was
disrespectful?
right inside.
That was a joke. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that's
Sorry, ballers, but you guys got to go back and look at that. It was a joke. Just
Yeah.
letting you know.
I followed it live when it happened, and it was such a weird situation. It was really weird.
Me and Pete
I'm
should
photographs and
approve
everything.
the flat Earth on Earth discussions.
Anything but discussing the flat Earth.
Brenda, what's the best solid piece of evidence that you think the flat Earth side had? If you were to make in a debate, you must all have you went to high school, etc. You've been in a debating side. You didn't even necessarily agree with the side, but you want to win, right? You want to make it to the final, whatever.
I can't think like that, man.
What's the best piece of evidence, Brenda, you could offer?
Well, that would probably be.
I'll get fired. I answer that question.
Come on, David, let her answer.
That would probably be the fact that it seems to our naive senses to be flat.
no naive, Brenda. You're making a good case. You see.
So you're
To our
saying observation,
I
basically.
told you she wouldn't
Yeah,
answer the question. I
to our-
told you.
It appears to our naive senses to be flat.
No naive. You're making
No.
the case, Brenda. Forget
No.
it. You're acting a part. Oh, sorry. You're acting another part. But
No, I'm not.
No, you're making a good point, Brenda. That is, in a way, true, but it doesn't automatically mean that it's just as easy to prove a globe, basically.
No, but Arwen, you're missing the point. I'm asking you
Naive
to make a
just
good
means-
case. You can't come along and say, well, to our stupid senses. I'm asking you to make
I
a
didn't
good
say
case.
stupid. I didn't say stupid. Naive means just innocent,
That's
innocent,
uninformed.
It's still a
Unexperienced.
judgmental
It
sort of-
means unexperienced.
Well, our
uninformed.
unassuming observations would make it
Yes.
more easy for us to
Just observations.
start
No,
an
no.
assumption of a flat Earth. And this is true. I experienced this even when I was very young.
It would seem to our uninformed senses that the Earth appears to be flat. That would be the strongest evidence for the flat Earth. But then there is counter evidence
senses,
that is
Brenda.
extremely strong that
Yeah,
contravenes
so how do we inform her?
that initial
Since you're
impression.
playing, how do we inform
Yeah,
her?
Brenda, I would like
I
to
have
agree
to
that
disagree with what you said.
on the surface level of it, if we didn't have the quote unquote indoctrination of schooling and us being taught about the sphere, I probably would be a flat earther. Mostly if I stayed in the northern hemisphere and I only saw one celestial point, I absolutely would. There would be
Well, you
no
ever-
reason
so-
really for me to believe otherwise.
Were you ever in the southern hemisphere? Tim?
Yeah, but that's
Did you ever
still
see the
taking
southern
into
celestial
account
spot?
I can't really hear you.
of the skies and the sun and the moon being literal physical objects floating over us. There's
Yeah, but
still
you
that
can't
thing.
explain how they're not physical objects.
Yes, I can. It's very easy. I did the hangouts
can.
about it.
So what is it? So
Arwen,
we're talking about
Arwen,
metaphysics now?
No, we're talking about holographics.
Arwen, I wanted to ask you just a very quick question, right? Because I know that you're into
Holographic.
Yeah, it's holographics.
Hang on, man. Hang
Light.
on. Take 10 seconds. I wanted to ask you a question because I know we're all into sort of making a model of what we think is the reality of things. Did you hear about my find with Milky Way was to be located on the moon between two craters, Eratosthenes and Eudoxus?
I heard that theory, yeah, Pete.
It's
But
not a
I
theory.
didn't
Quit
look
with your
into it.
disinfo,
Hang on,
Pete.
it's not a theory. That's proven now 100%. That's clarified 100%, not just by me, but by two others that I know of anyway.
Yeah,
So-
proven 100% by two others.
Pete,
It's not
Pete,
really.
you know what? Hey, I'm really good at Photoshop.
much, wait.
Let's get in a hangout sometime, even after this, if you want to, and check that and corroborate it, and it would be very interesting if
Yeah,
that's true.
I agree.
I'll just say that.
Actually, Tim, I'm going to
Do a
say
hangout about it. I like it.
I'm going to say in all modesty that might turn out to be one of the most important finds in history.
Yeah, it
Well,
might.
do
it
it
might-
then.
Hang on, if that was true,
You're-
Arwen,
You're
told-
absolutely
hang on.
correct.
Yeah, but
You're
hang on
absolutely-
a second. Hang on a sec. No, Brenda, this is why I'm so certain about this, because I know you can make that comparison yourself and you will find that that is exactly the case.
What is it I'm looking at again?
Okay, just briefly, the Milky Way, the swathe, we call it the Great Rift, right? You get
Milky
that,
Way.
and you compare it to a swathe on the moon between two craters, Eratosthenes. Funny how it's Eratosthenes, right? I've always said that Eratosthenes didn't exist, and within the name, the lie or the truth was held. You know, it was encoded. Eratosthenes, perfect anagram of seas, not Earth. And of course, we're told Eratosthenes was the first to see Earth. But anyway, the other crater is Eudoxus, Eudoxus, and that's an anagram of Exodus. It's almost as if it's written that way. I have said that the implications are that the rest of the 88, isn't it funny we have 88 constellations? The rest of the 88 constellations will also be locatable on the moon. And Tim, make yourself famous, man.
Okay.
If I was going to quote
Yeah,
I'd love to see some
half an
pictures
hour.
about that, Pete. So,
Hey,
If
dude,
it
I'm
was-
open to it. If you want to do it for this, I'm totally
yourself
open to
famous.
it. That'd be very
If it was
interesting.
true, what implication would it have?
I've explained, I've given my reason.
We didn't hear you, so go ahead.
holographic refraction, it would prove that many heavenly elements are apparently, as fractal, showing their aspects in other things of the heavens.
It's more real than that,
So-
Arwen.
That's
More-
what it
it's
would
more
show.
real. I've given an explanation.
Get it done,
Well,
Pete.
that's what I
You got a
asked. That's
chance
what I
to have it
asked.
verified.
Wow.
Get it
No,
done.
Hang
it's
on.
just the
What-
heavenly
what-
bodies.
what-
It's only the
The
stars, the
stars
moon,
have
and the
nothing to
sun.
do with proving the Earth is flat.
That's true.
The stars actually are very good proof that the Earth isn't
Oh.
flat.
No,
Actually.
when you go up
Sure,
high
yeah.
enough,
Sure.
they disappear out
Stars
of
are.
sight.
You have to explain
I
why
stand
the Milky Way.
That's
was found
false,
on the
Arwen.
moon.
That's false.
That's
Arwen.
false.
No, it's
Arwen.
not false.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, it
NASA
is.
It's
admits
absolutely
that.
false.
It's been
No.
said
Without
on camera
exposure.
by people that went there,
Arwen.
so called. So
Arwen. Some dude sent up a high altitude balloon to view some I can't remember the name of the asteroids or the meteor shower or whatever. Morgile used the video.
Yes.
meteor,
Morgan,
but
yeah.
I'm not talking about
There's all-
asteroids
the
and
sky is
meteor
full of
showers.
stars. The sky is full of stars way up there in this.
What's going to happen when the aliens find the monkey
monkey
spaceship is floating around in outer space?
That's a really
Hopefully they
stupid.
shoot you right between
That's
the
just
eyes.
dumb, dude.
No, but I'm not saying that asteroids are actually holographic. I think they're separate elements. But
We're not
I'm
talking
saying
about
that the
asteroids. We're
fixed
talking about the
star
stars.
globe around us,
We're talking about the stars, dude. The
planets
stars are
are
visible up in the,
lights.
way up in the atmosphere.
You guys, you've
You
got
claim
about
they were
5
stars.
minutes left.
What I
Just so you know, you've
Okay.
got a
Stop
little
with
under
the,
5
with the
minutes.
red herrings, dude. Okay, Globusters has said this. You cannot see stars, blah blah blah. Even in Morgile's video that Curve was talking about, okay, it has to do with exposure. So you have this really bright Earth right underneath the very pinpricks of stars. So you have to set up the camera correctly to actually capture the stars.
Hey Tim,
No,
how
that's
far where
ridiculous.
does friction stop when you're going to outer space? How many feet
Are
up
you a
do you
child?
go?
Are you a child?
How many feet do you have to go up before friction stops?
You're
Tim?
Are you a child? Can you go look this up yourself?
There's no
look,
childish question, Tim. Come on.
Yeah, but
No,
really
he acts.
what you're
he
talking about
asks
doesn't make any
questions
sense.
like a
If
child.
light could travel through a vacuum of space for billions and
It actually does make perfect sense, Arwen.
That is visibility, Dimitri. Light traveling a distance is visibility. Then you should always, no matter how
we're going to pull out a flashlight video
reason.
here in a minute and show you how a flashlight works.
Nobody here has evidence for the flat Earth, apparently. You want to talk about it?
I'm not even talking about the flat Earth right now. I'm talking about the holographic
debate, dude. Come on. Get on top. Somebody get on the ball. Get on the ball.
I'm not talking about flat Earth. I'm talking about the holographic skies.
Okay, so you understand why you have to say that it's holographic, because in the heliocentric model or the geocentric sphere model, okay, there are things that logically necessitate, such as the moon phases, as well as the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, things like this that literally work if you logically think them out. Now, you can't do it on a flat Earth, right? You can't do it on a flat Earth, so you say they're holograms.
I've explained it.
No, I'm saying they're holograms not because of what we get to see out there. I'm saying it because of a lack of triangulability. Like, you can triangulate them. You can approach these bodies and they will always shift away. They will always move as you move. You can never reach it. None of it.
I didn't know that you couldn't triangulate the moon. I've always thought that you could do that. I had no idea.
No, you can't. If you move, if a person observes the moon and like registers its angles, the time of day, and the exact location, and somebody else does it like 20 miles away and does the same thing, then when you triangulate those observations and everything, it will not match up. If you do it a synchronized type thing.
To what?
Because they're not in a literal location.
Stop asking questions, David. There are adults in the room.
Has man ever witnessed a new star appearing in the sky?
Arwen is in the middle of a conversation.
Ask that question. Has man ever?
I can't even hear the question.
You can do for the dodo.
And be loud.
Dodoisms.
Talk over them. Talk over them, Arwen. You were talking, Arwen. You got the floor, Arwen. Go.
Yeah, but I think
you got to beat them up, Arwen, or they're just going to keep running in the ground over there. They play.
Yeah, but you're also kind of talking.
Big boy, he can handle it. Go ahead, Arwen.
Dodo.
Well, I think I was finished explaining it. It's just a lack of triangulation.
All right.
Triangulatability.
Okay.
And
okay, then if you were done, then it doesn't match up to what? What did you say? It doesn't match up
the locations, the observed locations, and like seeing the disk. And then sizing up how far away it should be and all that stuff. Whatever base assumption you do, if it's like a physical object out there, or even if it is super far away as the heliocentric moon, then it would never match up. They would the locations observed would never match. Dude, I'm trying to answer the question.
You're done. You were finished a while ago. Dude, 20 miles. Forget about that. That's a joke. Take two people simultaneously taking the angles to the moon.
It doesn't matter.
From thousands of miles apart from each other.
It never matches.
Never matches what, Arwen? You won't answer
on the heliocentric.
Dude.
On the heliocentric.
Kurt,
it will not match up the observations. The moon location as it is observed will not match.
What is he talking about? Does anybody know what Arwen's trying to say?
When you get down
the skies and the moon are holographic.
You look to your side,
it doesn't match up.
The moon, and you walked up about a mile, and the moon was right there to your left.
Locations do not match up. They do not
triangulate. You can't triangulate these things.
Yes.
Has there ever been a new star appear in the history of man in the sky? Has a new star ever appeared that they've documented? Huh?
Well, NASA says a lot of things.
What does that have to do with anything, David?
Well, there's more questions you can't answer.
I've explained what the stars are. All there is
because I cannot answer when your tit-for-tat questions does not mean the Earth is flat. Okay.
No, Pete, you made up a story. You made up a story, Pete. That's all. You haven't explained anything, dude. You haven't explained anything.
You start asking real questions, but this is what everyone's keeping away from. No one wants to deal. If the Milky Way is on the moon, right? That says not only something about the moon.
Are you going to prove
about
it?
The stars and that intimate connection there.
Pete,
right? As I said, Tim, if you want to make yourself famous.
And with that, I'm going to first and foremost say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of our live audience for joining us on this debate, and also a massive thank you to all of the panel for joining us and making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.